We back.
That's it. Like it was some weed. Yeah,
it's right here on the microphone.
Definitely back.
All right, fair enough. So
Hey, you know,
I had mine get in there. This might run a bit long, but I definitely wanted to hurry up and get in on this. So of course everybody is talking. Well, not everybody, but I come across videos of them talking about Nick Cannon and who's that? Amber Rose.
Yeah.
Amber.
And it's not the first time I heard the argument. It was just that every time I hear it, it just I'm like, dude, why the fuck do they keep saying this? In terms of,
I know exactly what you're talking because that was something I wanted to talk about too.
Oh, well,
probably
good.
with the same opinion you about to share.
Oh, okay. Well, let's find out
right
about the party switch.
Yeah.
Okay. And every time I hear it, and I just recently got into this conversation with somebody that was so dog, oh, it was a party switch. And my first question is, explain to me how it is that a party is able to switch. And to their answer was, which a lot of common answers that I hear is that, during the 60s, the Democrats, they start looking out for black people, and then the Republicans started doing bad things. They literally claimed that they switched positions, meaning that one party was for the blacks, and then one day they woke up and said, I'm not for the blacks. And then the Republicans was like, we've been trying to help these niggas. Fuck these niggas. Like they all did it in the same week. And I was like, that is statistically impossible for you to say about somebody you've never met in your life that they woke up one morning and had a brand new different take on, helping people. And they just decided like, after all these years, we've been trying to help black people, fuck them. And then the Democrats woke up like, I felt bad about burning that cross on that nigger's lawn last week. I think I'm gonna help him out. And then all of a sudden they become the party to champion black people. What say you?
Well, I mean, when you look at history, what President LBJ have did after JFK, like he signed the Great Society Program Act, one of the largest pieces of legislation in our United States history. And, he wanted to, I guess the Great Depression was going on and a couple other things. The economy was crashing, and you know what happened after a president dies. It's economy crash. But the Great Society Program brought forth all those programs in which they're supposed to help a lot of black people and a lot of white people, and then everybody else that's included. But I guess it created a problem that we face today, which being super hooked on these government-run programs in which, it hinders you from getting a better job, or at least whenever you're on one of those government programs, you cannot make that much money. You cannot. You put your Section 8 over making a $90,000 a year job over everything. You're going to make me mess up my Section 8, my food stamps. Like that is the prized possession of today for some people. Not all black people, not all white people, but those that are on those programs, like that is something that's ingrained right now into where you're stuck on it. But I'm still gonna say it. President LBJ got up there on a hot mic and said, "I'm gonna have you niggas voting Democrat for 200 years," and it's still true to this day.
You only got 140 left.
Yeah, but I agree with all of that. But I think what the root of his question was really asking about
the party realign,
this great party switch.
I guess that's the counteract to it for those individuals that get one side of a story or both sides of the story, but don't actually go do the research. I know we was talking. I forgot the congressman's names or the Republican's name that actually switched sides. I think you said it was 3, but it was no realignment. That's what they just like to tell people to say to try to correct the situation or try to sweep something up under the rug. Like there was no realignment.
No, I think people are saying that to justify themselves going to the Republican Party. Black people in particular, they're saying this. They're using this quasi fact as an excuse or as a justification for it. and then they're not looking at the real life complications and nuances that actually, went into that. Because, and then I think a lot of the times I think they hear this
Mhm.
and then they accept it as fact, and they don't take any onus on looking it up for themselves, and then they don't realize the full truth, which that it was not uh a flip in the way that they're painting it. I feel like they like it's, I don't know if it's intentionally um leaving out shit, or it was just pure ignorance. But the fact of the matter is that you had Northern Democrats and Southern Democrats, and you had Northern Republicans and Southern Republicans on you know on both sides of the fence, before the Civil War and stuff.
Yeah.
So when at the time period, the Northern Democrats and Northern Republicans, although they were still separate parties, they both felt like, hey, we need to do away with slavery. And on the Southern side, it was opposite. They Southern Democrats and Southern Republicans wanted to keep the slavery. And then when slavery was over with, the Southern wanted to were in favor of the Jim Crow, and the Northern unnecessarily were. And then that's what this quote unquote party flip is, because they only look at the fact that Lincoln was a Republican, and he was the one who freed the slaves, not realizing that he was a Republican, but he's a Northern Republican, and there were Republicans in the South who vehemently disagreed with him. And then over time, the Southern Republicans just became Republicans, and then Southern Republican and Southern Democrats just became Republican, and vice versa on the Democrat side in the North. So that's what this whole misconception of flip and flopping was, and it's like that's not the full story.
Yeah, well, the term that everybody points to would be in the 60s, where everybody says the major switch happened. So I'll bring this up because I thought this was interesting, only because I keep hearing, like I said, this had come up recently, and everybody immediate reaction is to sit there and dog out stuff that to me it's like it's not true. It's like literally you can look this up just as easy. But I want to pull this one up real quick. Now, damn it, I just thought after you told me to do this shit, I did it.
Just hit the button. Hey,
Well, no, because I gotta
hit that A button.
No, it's not.
Oh,
Just have to pull it up.
oh, you got it. Well,
there we go. It wasn't that bad. Oh no, you know what? Now I know what I did wrong. There we go. Yeah, you know what? It is old people. That joke's not even funny anymore.
no, you got to hit A. I'm sorry, not camera 4. Hit the A button. There you go. Now you see us in the corner.
Oh, okay. Nobody wanted to see us in the corner. But if you look back at the earliest, that 71% was pointing out the year 1936. So of course you got Democrats and Republicans. The blue represents the amount of Black people that voted from 36 to 2004. So in 1936, you see that there's 71% of the Black vote is already for Democrats. Right now, this is prior to the year, so we don't get until what they call the switch that happens in 1960. But if you go back to 1936, Blacks are already voting majority Democrats. So if then the Republicans were the so-called House or the party for the Blacks, these numbers would be switched. You'd be seeing a way higher percentage of Black people voting for Republican during that time. This is 1936, so this is after the FDR restructuring, meaning that after the Great Depression, FDR was handing out, special programs and welfare. And that's what caused him to get elected the way that he did, is because that he was providing to the people. So the people bought into that. That's cool. Now, fast forward up to 1960, where they say all of this is supposed to have taken place. You got Eisenhower that was in office, which was a Republican. JFK came in immediately after and took in as a Democrat. The numbers really don't change too much. If you're looking at it, it's still over 50% that blacks are voting for Democrats. And they've been doing it up until this point. So if you were to say that there was a switch, they would have had to been at some point in the past that black people were voting overwhelmingly for Republicans over to a higher degree of 50%. That way you actually had something to switch to, meaning that blacks were, if they were being mistreated, then why were they rolling with the Democrats all along? And it's like these numbers, which are numbers and not feelings, show a completely different story. At the 1960, JFK gets elected, he gets assassinated. 1963, Lyndon B. Johnson signs the Civil Rights Act. Now, here's another interesting thing. Civil Rights Act, you can actually go look up who voted for what. My bad, that's the election. But the Civil Rights Act, we have 431 votes to agree. You have the blue, which represented Democrats. You have the red, of course, represents the Republicans. But look at the margin of people that didn't vote or voted against it on the Republican end. That's not a lot as compared to all these people on this side, Democrats, that voted against it. Mind you, it was the Democrats at this point that solely sat up there and filibustered. That was Robert C. Byrd, Democrat of Virginia. If you go back and start looking at the voting history from that time, 1964, again, you had Johnson versus Goldwater, Lyndon Baines Johnson going for his second term, or at this point, his full term after Kennedy assassination, versus this dude named Barry Goldwater. So Barry Goldwater was this dude, he wasn't for the Civil Rights Bill, and he had a separate group of reasons which makes sense now as opposed to what it did then. He was more about how states should have the ability on deciding on how discrimination is checked. He didn't want the government to oversee it. He said each individual state should represent that because each individual state was kind of like its own country at that day. So everybody said, nah, Barry Goldwater, we don't know you like that. We're not going to vote for you. The Republicans basically tried to get somebody else in, but somehow he won on the fluke. And then all of these red states here in the South were actually Democratic states that told Lyndon Baines Johnson, if he goes through with this Civil Rights Act, then we're going against it. We're actually going to flip Republican, and which they did. This is 1964. 1968. Nixon versus Humphrey. Humphrey was an okay dude, but he wasn't, he was the vice president to Lyndon Baines Johnson. So he wasn't like super popular or anything like that. But Nixon had run against Kennedy in the 1960 election, which was actually stolen from him. And he was super popular, which is why he won by the 301 and Humphrey only had 191. Now, if you look at something interesting, these same states that said that they were going to go Republican if Democrats sat there and didn't reverse those civil rights bills. You see that now these went for George Wallace, which was one of the three Democrats that flipped to Republican. But the Republicans didn't want to support him. They told Wallace, like, dude, you a straight up racist. Like, no, so we're not touching that. So as you can see, he ran as an independent in order to get those same states that were part of the Southern strategy to get more white voters. We'll fast forward to 1972. 1972, Nixon beat McGovern. McGovern was so weak as a candidate, 6 people turned him down to be his vice president. That's how much they did not like this dude. So naturally Nixon won. And if you're going to say that the whole map went red, so now you can't pinpoint it to a state that's gone Republican due to belief systems or racist belief. It's because the entire map did. Fast forward to 1976, Carter versus Ford. This is when I start getting familiar. Now, mind you, all those states that had went red once before, they went independent due to the conflict that they had. Now they're back blue. So now they're back Democrats. And these are the same racist state that caused this entire thing. They go from Republican to independent to Republican, and now they're back to the blue. So now they're back Democrat. Fast forward to 1980, Ronald Reagan steps in. All of this changes for one solid reason. Not only did Carter get his ass whooped, but this was during that time and change where everything changed. We're talking about the 80s. It's no longer 1965. There's no longer that you got to sit at the back of the bus shit. This is the MTV Reaganomics era. So everybody was about getting paid. They was about getting cocaine. They was about breakdancing and all types of shit. So that old mentality of we shall overcome shit, it's dead by the 80s. So now all these states that are going to go red and blue in different colors, it's not about anything racist. It's not to say that there's no races involved in it, because definitely there's still racism in the southern region, but those states do not control the entire party, meaning that the state of Florida does not abide by what the state of Montana do. You got two different constitutions. They working on two different type of levels. And if you go back to the 1960s, it's the same thing. These states are not going to sit there and dictate to other Republican states what they should do and can do, because you can clearly see that nobody else vote for them. So there wasn't a switch.
So I think that, a lot of the times, as far as looking at this, particular graph, when they're looking at the, Democrat versus Republican, it's like
these
you
are
still have.
Yeah, these are black votes.
No, yeah, that's what I mean. But what I'm saying, when you're looking at who the black people voted for at those early points in times up until, I think it said the Reconstruction started happening between the 50s and the 80s, when it started completely fizzling out. And what you said, what was the president you just said?
Who, Reagan that came in?
Lyndon B. Johnson. When you were talking about that policy that he said, and the Southern Democrats was like, yo, we out of here.
Southern straight, right.
Yeah. So that's all during that time period where it was still regional based. You had the Southern Democrats who were basically, what we would align to as a Republican now. But they were, like I said, it was still regional. So it was like they had different policies, because you even had, who was it? You even had like a northern. Yeah, but they called the Southern Democrats, they called them Dixiecrats, because they were still, opposed to civil rights and stuff. But over time, that's when they the northern, parties started to, come together, and as well as the southern parties. So then they just went ahead and adopted the titles.
All right, and that's what I was saying. Is that you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You had 5 states. 5 states don't dictate to the rest of the party.
I'm not talking about that part. Yeah. I'm only talking about looking at who black people voted for, because you also have to take into consideration the region where they were voting and what the actual regional party stood for at the time. Because it wasn't like all Democrats were aligned. Like I said, when you look at the Southern Democrats versus Northern Democrats, they had.
Oh, you saying as far as the black vote?
Yeah, only opposed talking about the black vote, because you would have, the Southerners, they would technically be, voting for, it may look like the Republican Party, but if they looked, their policy may have aligned with more of what a Democrat would be, and vice versa. Yeah. Let's just looking at who black people voted for.
Yeah, because you got to look at, some will say we had two Democratic parties back in, 2 Republican parties back there, and their policies and what they wanted and what
they were not the same.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
they
I'm
was
talking about up until the 60s. Because this is when the
Yeah,
so-called...
that's when it happened. They were saying
Right.
between the 50s and the 80s is when the major reconstruction started to happen.
Well, I'm referring to the switch. They said the switch happened in the 60s, between the 60s and 68s. That's where everybody goes because they used Lyndon Baines Johnson as the catalyst to what caused the switch. So as far as like everything else prior to that, yeah, I kind of understand the history in terms of their voting, but the big dates are between 60 and 68 because those bills were passed. The Civil Rights Bill, the Home Act, everything for Black civil rights was done in between the 60s and the 70s. So that's where the so-called switch happened. And that's what I'm referring to. The switch is like, again, it's like you go back to what you're looking at in terms of the map, and that tells you all, including the vote numbers. So when we pull up the vote numbers for different civil rights, you're going to find that the majority of the Republicans on their end, the majorities of the Republicans, they voted on a higher percentage-wise than the Democrats, meaning that for anything legislation that came up regarding Black people, there were more Republicans on the Republican side that voted yes versus the Democrats that voted on the Democrat that voted no. And not to say that, they had the Democrats held more seats and everything, but on a percentage basis, there's more Republicans that said thumbs up. But if that was the case on that switch, that means the Republicans would have had to vote majority no on all those civil rights bills, which they didn't do. And we're using numbers now to show that, the switch happened. You just can't say the switch happened because of some people and that you think they may have felt something. No, that's going to be determined by the actual numbers and what the votes were. And you'll be hard pressed to find the actual votes where a Republican actually voted something down in regards to civil rights. And if they had that switch, again, they would have voted all thumbs down on civil rights, and they just didn't do it. You can go back to 1972 civil rights vote, 1968 housing and civil rights vote, the 1964 votes. There were more Democrats that voted against that than Republicans in terms of percentage-wise. So the numbers just aren't there to say that all Republicans are out for Black people. So that eliminates the whole switch theory.
But I'm still saying I'm not disagreeing, but I'm saying you still have to, when you're looking at the percentage and the numbers of Democrats versus Republicans voting for whichever one, you still have to factor in the fact that when you look at, I'll just take the Republican side, party for example, when you look at that Republican Party, they were still not all in. Obviously, when you look at the voting percentage, they were not all aligned on the same, in the same, with the same beliefs. It's like you had people who, they were considered themselves a Republican, but their actual policies and their views aligned with Democrats, and the same thing on the other side. So that has to be taken into consideration when you look at the number of people who may have voted against it on the Democrat side, because although they were technically Democrats by title, their ideologies were not aligned with the rest of the Democrats who obviously voted yes for the civil rights, because they would still have those regional separations.
Okay. Yeah, it
so
would,
like I'm saying,
it would,
I think it's pretty clear when you look at that, the one that you had, the other one that had showed the pale blue dots were the ones that voted no, and the dark blue dots.
Oh yeah.
It's like you can see that there's a very clear divide in both parties where they don't necessarily align. And then that's when they were saying through that period, it was like a gradual shift. It started in the 50s and went all the way up to the 80s. That gradual shift of those people who are in that pale spot, that pale blue, they were like, you know what, I don't belong over here. And then that's when they, started progressively flipping over to red, and vice versa with their pale reds. Like, hey, I align more with Democrats. So, and then,
well, if you're talking about voters, that's one thing. But in terms of party switch, they got a list of the actual party members that switch parties, and it's not a lot. As a matter of fact, throughout this period of the 60s to the 70s, during that transition of the Southern strategies, there was only 3 that were noted, and that was Strom Thurmond, Albert Watson, and George Wallace. And Watson and Thurmond are both from South Carolina, with George Wallace being from Alabama. So those are the notable three, and these are those three states, which again do not dictate to any other red state. And I understand, but those states did not infect the entire party, so the entire party start thinking in the sense like, oh, we don't like black people now. Because again, the votes are short, number one, but for two, they operate on completely different systems in terms of each individual state.
Yeah. But I mean, if you look at those particular individuals, but you would have to assume that there are a lot more less notable people who, who just got a seat and got a vote, but they weren't making a whole lot of noise.
Oh yeah, there were some.
And then even like people who were coming up into the politician game who, were aligned, had underneath the title, but their views aligned with, other people. And they, people who didn't necessarily make newspapers or who weren't noteworthy or whatever. But I feel like it's all, like I said, it's a thing that happened, but not the way that when people, make those comments like Buchanan made. It's not as black and white as they make it seem.
Oh no, it's not. But that can no different be said than people that hop on there and wish Nick Cannon and Amber Rose flip over in the damn Jeep, because it's like, no, it's not that serious either. It's like there was no switch. Like there was no get up one morning and I decided I hate niggas and get up one morning and decide that I love them. It's like that just did not happen. Now, can party changes? Absolutely. And that's where it like kicked into 1980 because Reagan got in office. And again, it wasn't about black and white. It was all about green during that time. That's what all Reaganomics was about. So it threw that color barrier shit out the window. It was no more, Jesse Jackson ran for president in 84. So all that, old time 60 shit was gone by the 1980s.
All right.
But they still decided to flood the hood with coke, with crack.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that was
like they wasn't their main policy. They made sure to.
I get so because I just had this conversation this weekend, dude. I'm not even gonna get the story, but he brought up the fact, oh yeah, Reagan sat there and flooded the hood. Yeah, no doubt, they needed that money. It's like they knew what they was doing, and then to top it off, the Democrats came right behind them, knowing that what Reagan did was fucked up, and then locked all of them up.
Yep.
So
and you got that 94 crime bill that came in.
Yep. Yeah, Joe Biden sitting there talking, I don't want my sons out there fighting these super predators in the street. Like, oh yeah, that was cool. And he said all that shit. And I also had another question because I had to jam dude up because he was sitting there telling me how racist Trump was. And he kept saying, oh yeah, first thing out of his mouth, he wouldn't rent to black people in 1977 or whatever. I was like, I know niggas right now that own properties that will not rent to black people.
But that story is so fabricated.
But no. Actually, it wasn't. He was part of the management group. At the time, his dad, Fred, helped him out. But Trump was in fact, in charge of these buildings, and he got cited twice for discrimination amongst black people. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. We don't know what the circumstances. No, that's what they filed a suit on him. But the dude that filed it's a lot of stuff to go with it. It sounded like some hater shit, but
But I thought it was because Trump didn't. So, from what some of the stuff from some of the stuff that I researched about the renting to black people, I thought it was he didn't want to rent to anyone that couldn't afford to rent, but he didn't realize that 20% of your apartment complex have to be Section 8. But naturally, people just assume black people because black people were on Section 8. So he went to court, but not renting to people who couldn't rent his property because they had Section 8. And it had nothing to do with the race. It just, he didn't want to rent to anyone who didn't have Section 8. But of course, it all gets spent that way. It all gets spent like, you don't want to rent the black people. Like, no, I ain't want to.
It can get spun that way, but it was definitely, like, he definitely got popped for.
Right, he got popped. He got
specifically against black folks.
Right, and he got popped twice, like because it happened again. But my thing is that okay, let's think about it. 1977 in New York, it's like New York was pretty much a piece of shit throughout like the late 70s and the 80s. New York was nothing compared to what it is now. I mean, it was like literally trash. So if you got prime real estate and you trying to build an industry based off of where you gonna get your money from, and it's like white people moving in and you like the white people, you like the white money. I was like, are you going to let some black people start moving in? Because let's just be honest, that's why everybody escaped to move to the suburbs during those times, because black people were filtering out through the cities and the newly found suburbs. So white people was back on that getaway. Now, as a businessman, am I going to sit up here and like, oh, I'm going to rent to the first black? Hell no. Because I do black people.
For the fact the white folks going to move out.
Exactly. And I do business with black people. So it ain't about, oh yeah, look out for your kinfolk. Like, no, God damn it, I need my money on time. I need to be on time. I need all this shit on time. It ain't got nothing to do with personal. It got something to do with money. And if I'm a businessman, then that's the first thing that I protect. And if you think I'm bullshitting, I got a laundry list of people that went in working with black folks that are now broke, wishing they had never done it. I got family members rented out to black people, wish they'd never done it. So to me, it's like, is that racist? I'm like, no, I think that's knowing your clientele.
You know, but that, I mean, when you look at stuff from a business perspective, it's like you really can't argue with the pure logic of that. Like, hey, I know for a fact the majority of my clientele are racist and they don't want to live in the same building with black folks. So whether or not I'm racist or not, it doesn't make good business sense to rent to black folks in this building, knowing that these white folks are either going to cause problems, start a riot, or whatever the hell, or they're going to leave and that's money out of my pocket. Business-wise, I mean, that only makes sense. But when you talking about a society and trying to build a society and get this society away from this racist mentality and this pure ignorance of thinking that, you know, the color of a person's skin makes them less or more of a human being. It's like you trying to build and bring society away from that. It's like, yeah, like that's fucked up. So,
but why is that his job?
What do you mean? I think it should be everybody's job as a human being to not treat people like shit just because of their skin color.
I'm sorry. I'll disagree with that only for the simple fact that no two human beings are built the same. So regardless how you may feel about it, which is, you know, I would say morally right and just, and you would say the same thing, which I would say morally right and just, there's going to be the exact same amount of people that's sitting somewhere like, man, fuck that. So you can't change them.
No, that's like I said, that's not my point. And you're looking at it from a business thing. Like that makes business sense.
Right.
But again, this is during a time where we are, you know, as a country and as a society, we are trying to move away from that nonsense.
Oh.
So from a government standpoint, and, you know, when it comes to fining people, you know, for discrimination, it's like, yeah, that's the right thing to do because we're trying to get away from this. And it's not like, I can understand the pushback and the hesitancy when it comes to the Section 8, you know, part of it, and, you know, allowing lower income people to move into buildings because unfortunately, statistically speaking, lower income comes with higher crime. But when you're talking about just denying things to a black person who can afford it and who happens to be, you know, well off and successful and enough to you know, to be able to afford to live in this building, it's like you know, that's not something that you should be expecting or would even rationally expect to come from a person who has built themselves up to be able to afford this. So it's like outside of a complete racist mindset, there's no reason for you to feel like a black person moving into a building would be an issue outside of a racist mentality and linking that to the business part.
Oh, I can think of one right now. Say, for instance, you are a black person and you come apply at my job. Say, pick a job where you want to work at. Any company, 1977, 1975.
Bricklayer.
as a bricklayer. You come in as a bricklayer and you making a nice bit. You work for Bricklayers and Sons, and you come and show me your thing. As a white person sitting there in 1977, I'll look at you and be like, oh, you work for Bricklayers in there, right? Oh, so that means that you're going to be part of the union, right? What do I know about the union? Well, 1976, 1977, it was mob control. So right now, as a black man, you working for the mob, probably not that good. Do you have long terms? Like, probably got 5 years, depending on your attitude. But the second that Luigi cousin and them come over here, your ass is off a job. Now, as a where you live at, as a landlord, I got to figure out a way to get you out because I just can't kick you out on the street. By those times, they had tenant laws where you have to go through that whole litigation of getting somebody evicted. So just say not by your fault, not by my fault, but if it's Luigi and them at Bricklayers, I know them dudes over there, it's like if they decide to fire you, then it's not that I'm being a bad person, but it puts both of us in a bad spot now. I got about a year before it is I can evict you. Not that I want to, it's just because that you're not working and I'm not getting paid for that unit that I need. So I mean, that's a reason.
That's more based on occupation and not necessarily strictly because of the skin color. Because I don't know in 1970s or whenever he got popped for it, but I don't know how many bricklayers were making enough money to live in Donald Trump.
The building, and that's the thing. Yeah, the buildings weren't. Yeah,
people who live in that, who the black folks who could afford to live in there were probably working a white collar job.
Yeah, and if they didn't own the company, the same rules apply. You could have been an ad manager at one of the companies there. But again, it's like during that time period, it's like, and we don't know. This is all speculation. But
I'm like, but we putting thoughts in it, and to mindsets that clearly did not think the way that we think nowadays. So it's like all of this shit is speculatory and it's probably incorrect. But the truth of the matter is, like you said, the people who lived in the building were racist, and they would probably leave if Donald Trump had rented to a black person.
Yeah, I go for that.
Period. Point.
Yeah, profit over the people. They don't, especially now. You work at any job or any building.
I don't think that's now. I think that's the way the world's been since conception.
Since money meant something.
I'm not gonna hire my cousin. Next thing you know, money missing.
Shit. Hey, it happens. It's like people hire family, people hire, based off of skin folk and kinfolk or whatever. But shit happens.
So you got battle now. But
we don't battle. This isn't a battle. Yeah. This is casual conversation.
More talking than me this time than anything.
Well, have at it, because I'm tired. Nah.
No, because I think my next one kind of piggyback a little bit, but I'm pretty sure you would have more to say than you would. But it's going on to this Drewski skit.
Oh, hell yeah. No comment.
Yeah.
No comment.
Did you even watch it?
I tried to watch it, man. That shit looks so damn weird. I can't.
It's supposed to. That was the whole purpose.
You got but with the Drewski skit, I think I guess a statement got made. But I guess for those of you out there about the Drewski skit, making fun of Erica Kirk and some of y'all out there saying that, it's the same as blackface. It is not. It is not the same as blackface. For those of you out there saying that shit, you are talking dog shit. It is not the same. Blackface was made to use to dehumanize and unhumanize black people. It is a horrible thing that was done to black people, as far as their culture and a race. He was making fun of a single person. That is a big difference. If you look at his previous sketches, he's making fun of. Some of y'all were probably gonna say, "Well, he made fun of the white hillbilly." Like, no, the hillbilly is not a race. The hillbilly is not.
You can't say that in Virginia, but go ahead. Yeah.
Well, Virginia, I'm saying it. Being a hillbilly is not a race.
He just got in trouble for making fun of black pastors. No, I'm sorry. He didn't say black pastors. He said mega church pastors.
Mega church pastors. Like it is
black pastors here.
And
a lot of them white
all you guys are doing that is going to make him do it a whole lot more. He's going to, I don't know if he's going to go into the LGBT realm or the Jewish realm. Like then he's going to really push.
I wouldn't. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
Oh man,
I wouldn't be surprised.
But I think it kind of does touch on 3 generations because we got, our generation before us, some of our uncles and fathers, they are old enough to still have the word Negro printed on their birth certificate. And you can't tell them nothing about racism. You can't tell them, you can't reason with those individuals in any way, shape, or form. But then you got, our generation.
What they live through, so different stuff. So.
Yeah, different stuff. So
yeah, but it still is not the fact that you don't let shit go. If anything, you see the differences.
Yeah. But then you got our generation.
I'm not in your generation. Sorry.
Well, I'm putting you in that. I'm putting you in that right now.
I think he's like a couple years away from having Negro printed on your birth certificate.
I think I had Negro printed on.
Really?
Yeah. I got it when I get home and look at it. But I'm almost certain I did because that was 1972.
So then you got our generation. We grew up watching Tropic Thunder. We grew up watching White Chicks. Like all these comedy things that we saw.
You people.
And then you got this new generation, these Gen Zs.
Y'all
like
booty soft. Y'all so soft.
Shit, I think these new generation of black kids, I think they are dangerous as hell. Because I see these goddamn kids, these videos where they be in a line at a grocery store or at a gas station, and then there's a white person in front of them, then they get into an argument, then the white person says, "You goddamn nigger," they jumping these people. Especially with the teen takeover. I know you saw the one recently, the one in Hyde Park in the city.
I didn't see the Hyde Park.
Man, they were tearing up.
When did this happen?
This past weekend. Yeah.
Oh, no shit.
They were tearing
one
it
that
up.
just happened downtown. That was last week. That
Really?
was downtown on State.
Downtown?
Yeah, it was like State and State.
It just
Michigan or something like that.
Do I think it's funny? Yes. It does raise a lot of questions. I know Erica Kirk immediately went on a tour after her husband got shot.
She went on a whole press tour.
A whole press tour. Like it does ask some questions. Did I think the skit was funny? Yes, because he's making fun of a single person, not a race. Regardless of what people think, it is not blackface.
Yeah, he captioned it. Conservative white women be like ... But it's very obvious he's talking about.
So can a white person dress up as a particular black person in blackface and go make fun of them? Just the opposite. So can what's the dude named Jake Paul? Whoever the fuck. Who's the famous YouTuber or
Jake Paul?
I think
Jake Paul
person would have to be, first of all, have an established record of making fun of everybody. And
can Bill Burr do it with Wayne Brady and get away with it?
I don't think Wayne would be able to. Personally. In my own personal comic opinion and taste.
In today's society, would Bill Burr be able to...
But my thing, my pushback is against the whole society thing in general. And what I, brought it up for was, what's his name? Jamie Kennedy. Isn't it? What's his name? Jamie Kennedy? He did Malibu's Most Wanted.
Oh, yeah, that shit was funny.
Yeah, he
B-Rad.
Yeah, he made a response from back in the early 2000s when he had his show for a couple years, and he did a couple characters who were black. And one of them was a black woman, and the other one was I think it was like a spoof for Judge Joe Brown.
Oh.
And I was looking at it, and it was like, when I was watching it, I'm like, I don't find it offensive. Like, he's obviously in, like you said, blackface is different. He is, for lack of a better term, he's in blackface. He had on the dark makeup with the curly hair and looked like a little afro. He looked like George Joe Brown. And he did like the mannerisms, like the talking mannerisms.
That would have been funny then.
I was expecting it to be funny. It wasn't funny, but it wasn't offensive. It was just like,
it just wasn't funny.
It just wasn't funny.
Okay. Yeah.
But who would you think you would? I mean, it will lead into our next topic. Like, could you see Gary Owens doing blackface?
I don't think he would. I don't think that's just his personality. I don't think he would do that. But my whole point is to that, what people always say. That's the first thing, the white people come out and go, oh, well, if I did that, it would be racist. If I did that, I would get canceled. And it's like...
Not unless you was Democrat. Then you'll get reelected.
I mean, that was pretty much it. It's just like, people are going to find things to be offended for no matter, anytime you're making fun of somebody's going to get offended. And it's just like, hey, I don't know, man. You should be able to laugh at yourself every now and then.
And people can't do that. And people are way too soft now. I'm telling you, this generation with all the new rules and can't do this and my feelings hurt. It's like that, man. Trust me, just for the kids out there listening, everybody over the age of 40 really don't give a fuck. Like we could care less. We done been through some shit that you can't imagine yet, and you crying about lame shit. We don't care.
I wouldn't say everybody, man. You still got them.
Well, all right, 50 and up. I know I don't.
Even that, you still got.
I know I don't give a shit.
It whittles down to personality and stuff, because you got them Karens and stuff that call the police on you.
Oh, them niggas on drugs, right? Yeah, no, those prescription drug shit that don't count.
Them suburban moms that just sit there and pop their necks while they husband at work banging the secretary.
Exactly.
They gotta take care of the kids.
All righty. Well, I got a topic. Well, it kind of still goes into what we were just talking about with Drewski, but social media influencers. We have seen some of these social media influencers get super famous with one video. Speaking of Drewski, but he's already still has a whole bunch of following. But we see some of these social media influencers, they get famous overnight because of one video. They start to trend, they go viral, and then they fame peak out, and then it dies down. Some of these are, if you remember them, the Hatua girl. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if
I never knew who that was.
So,
you did miss him.
Oh, okay, cool.
Cooking with Kai, the guy that said hide your kids, hide your wife.
Cooking with Kai, yeah, she kind of fell off a bit.
So we see these individuals rise to fame overnight, and we all know how it is. You're trying to get that one video to get 1 million views so you can get your stuff monetized, so then you can start to make money, and then you sign up for every social media platform, and then everyone is waiting on your next video, and you're trying to make money, but then you see that wave that goes up, then it comes down, and now all of a sudden you're not famous anymore. And now you're doing the unspeakable of trying to stay famous, trying to stay relevant.
Start that OnlyFans.
And you start that OnlyFans. So, Hatua, Kaylee, Riley, or whatever the hell her name, I'm sorry. I don't even know.
I don't know
what her name is either. But she's going to start OnlyFans.
She is?
Yep. But do you guys think, based on some of the people that you saw that are famous on social media, do you think they should have been famous in the first place?
What is fame anymore, man?
Because fame versus celebrities are famous, and famous people are not, or not all famous people are celebrities. So there is a big difference. Famous people are people that just well known within a certain aspect or certain.
And celebrity people have a talent that comes along with celebrities.
Then there's not a lot of celebrities.
But
no, it's not. But yeah, so what is your question, your actual question?
It's like based upon some of the people that you see, that you always see trending on social media, be like, man, why am I keep saying this guy? Why is this person famous? Why is she famous? Like, do you think, and it's a lot of them, where you see where their fame is peaked out and then they're no longer famous, but then you're like, why was that person famous in the beginning? What did they do to society? I get it, you're trying to make money because you're on social media, but do you think community pressure comes into play? Mr. Tendernism. Like, I have started to see some people that says, hey, he goes around to certain restaurants, at least now, because I had to fully understand what he does. He goes around and verifies your food is tendernism, right? But some people have said they actually went to go try his food.
That's not what he originally got.
Yeah, that's for. But some people go try his food and say it's not up to par based upon social media pressure, based upon should this person have been famous.
So your question is like, do we think the people should be famous? Like the people who get famous off of social media?
Yeah, like they should have been.
I mean, no. I mean,
off the bat.
Yeah, I'm like. I guess if I have to take a position, I would say no. But if I'm just being like very frank, I don't care. Because it's like it doesn't affect me at all. Sometimes I look at when people. Only time that I start caring about people who get people who get famous and influence is when I come across something and they say something or they posit some kind of some stance or an opinion, a strong opinion that is influential or trying to guide, usually young people into a certain direction. And I can look at this from a very a very objective position, and I can tell that what they're saying is just wrong. And then that's the part that I start, why the fuck, why is this person even famous? Like why do they have this amount of power or influence to be out here saying, complete nonsense, and people listen to it and then act on it. And I think that kind of goes back into what we were talking about. I don't know if it was last episode or the episode before that, how like in China you have to have some type of degree in whatever field you're talking about online, or otherwise you will face repercussions from it. It's like,
they got bamboo poles over there. That shit hurt.
You can't just get online and just start saying, hey, if you just all you got to do to lose 30 pounds is take this one little pill, or stop drinking this, or start drinking that, or start eating this. And then like you get online and saying, recommending shit like that over there. It's like, hey, we need some paperwork. Like, where do you get your knowledge to say this type of stuff? That's the only time that I start caring, because people are so impressionable nowadays. It's like, hey, you got over 1 million followers and you say, hey, water is bad for you. It technically, if you drink, so you can drink too much water, it starts filling up your cells, and your cells can start drowning. You can die.
Oh yeah.
Technically, that's true, but
is it?
Yeah,
no, I'm just fucking with you.
Like, technically, yeah, that's true. But if you just get online and just start saying, "Hey, you like stop drinking water because you could kill yourself," and like, I'm pretty sure it's a few dumb people out there that's gonna start that's gonna take heed to that and start preaching it and saying, "Yeah, I don't drink water because X, Y, and Z said this, and that's why I don't drink Monster." Like.
Yeah, it's like when somebody he told us to drink bleach,
and they have a large
and
following.
You drink some,
yeah, but some of these individuals have a large following. They have a large influence, and they don't really, I know I said in the previous video, they don't have no professional background. They just started the trend, and people started to follow them, and then now all of a sudden, hey, come buy my T-shirt, come buy this. And then, all of a sudden, that wave fall down. I'm doing OnlyFans now. I don't know about for the guys, you going up there.
Well, I mean, I think for any fame, you got to look at when that time runs out. I think now it's only different because you're watching the star life of a YouTuber or influencer, as opposed to like back in the day, you had movie stars or rock stars or, musicians, and their flame dies out differently. So because we are in the fast-paced generation now that, you hop on as a YouTube, it's like, well, now you know the shelf life. I don't know any of these people that you're talking about, but who had the longest run in terms of?
Well, I know the Haktua girl, she got famous for, I'm not even going to repeat the video, but the guy was doing the interview with her down the street, and she was asking her like a sexual question, and she was like, you gotta spit on it, if you get what I'm talking about. But and then it trended all over the internet, but then all of a sudden she, telling her fan base to invest in a crypto company, and it tanked on people, and a whole bunch of people lost a whole bunch of money. But of course, they throwing up their hand like, we have nothing to do with it. We're in the same boat as you. These people, they get famous and they get the influence. And then now I'm telling you to buy something, and you buy it without any thought of hesitation.
Yeah, that ain't her fault.
But, some people beg the difference online because you got all these people that can track where stuff goes as far as the cryptocurrency. And I can see that you're still holding your how many coins you said you have, but I can see that you dumped yours. You're the girl that told me to buy it, but I can see that on the blockchain that you dumped all your money on us. Yeah. It can get down as far as cryptocurrency, but now she's starting to OnlyFans. Why? Because her fame is running out. She didn't even do, all the things that she's supposed to do to keep the money rolling in and all the views.
What is she supposed to do? She didn't get famous off of a talent. She just got interviewed. Her friend was getting interviewed on the street just a
right,
walk by interview, and she just popped her head in and just said, "Oh, you got a hot tool on that thing."
Oh wow!
And,
You know,
like,
how you not see these goddamn videos?
I don't watch
But
that.
it's not even in his.
I mean, but if
But-
you did now, if you follow it, that's where she got famous from, and you follow
That's it.
crypto advice from it. That's not a her problem.
That's
is a
that's
yo
literally
problem.
all she did.
That
But it's
is-
just like,
It wasn't like, Warren Buffett popped his head and then was like, hey, you got to grab him by the coochie. And then he's like, because then I'd have been like, oh, shit, I'd have known about that. Warren Buffett said that. And this dude a billionaire. Shit, I'm listening to that.
But
grabbing motherfuckers by the coochie.
Hey, making money doing it.
but
Yeah, I don't know that all that stuff is it's
But,
fleeting because now when you look at that stuff, because not too long ago, a couple years ago, you could literally get a job by showing how many followers you have.
yes,
And
wow.
that was a currency. Your follower count was currency. And this was 2 years ago. Now they don't care about your followers. They want to see your actual analytics of how many people are watching your videos. So now it's like everybody then built up this. I got X amount of followers. You should, this is what I bring to you. This is the value I bring to your company. Just talk about like Sheen and Fashion Nova and stuff like that. Is like, yo, if you got 32,000 followers as a female, it ain't nothing for you to go, just send a couple pictures to these companies and they just start sending you free clothes. Like, hey, yeah, wear our clothes and
Oh,
we'll
no
pay you.
shit.
Oh, yeah.
Because you got, X amount of followers and we feel like that's going to be, that's going to increase our brand awareness and stuff like that, which, is true. But now it's like, you just seeing your follower list. It's like, no, we need to see the backing. We need to see how many videos you are uploading in X amount of time and how many people are actually watching it. Because I was just watching this financial audit show that I talked about a couple times. And there was one girl on there that she got quasi popular, famous or whatever from some video that she was in the background of. And she ended up, trying to kind of turning that into like, this persona with, like pink hair and doing stuff with pink hair or whatever. And she built up, a nice little amount of following. I think she had like 20,000 followers, I want to say, or something to that effect. But the Caleb dude was looking at, because she was trying to do it, be a streamer. And she had X amount of followers. But when he looked into her actual, her back end app, she was like, yeah, you got 30,000 followers. But if you look at all your videos, you only get an average of like 10 views on your videos that you uploaded. So it's like them 30,000 followers mean absolutely nothing because nobody's watching the video. They just forgot to hit the unsubscribe button.
Oh, damn.
yeah.
It's like, that's what it really is nowadays.
Brought in paid.
Yeah, so it's like all of that I think all this wraps into your question. It's just like, hey, it's fleeting. It's like these people where they get famous for, they get their 15 minutes and then it's just on to the next one.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Well, how much money did they make off of it during their time?
That social media thing, I have no idea. But it just like when there was when Squid Game came out on Netflix. Somebody created a coin called Squid Coin. This shit was like $2,000, and it dropped to zero on all these people. And there's a live video out there of it. If you ever want to look it up, and the streamer looking like, yo, it just went from 2,000 to zero, and everybody got rug pulled, fucked over.
But it's like you bought something called a Squid Coin.
Because something is
Because
popular.
everybody think it's gonna be the next big coin.
It's something that's popular, and then all of a sudden you're a famous streamer, and I'm the company. Hey, we want you to promote this coin on your channel because you got 300,000 followers. If you can get them to buy at least 20% of our stockpile, here's your cut. But we're gonna rug pull them. It's behind the scenes stuff. I'm not accusing nobody or nothing, but it can get that deep as far as
But as a person with, and you got some money, you gonna be like, why am I paying $2,000 for a squid?
Because if I convince you, hey,
It's
I'm
just
such a such famous person, et cetera, I'm coming out with my own cryptocurrency. We're gonna pump this thing to the moon.
Are you convincing me in person with a gun to my head? I'm trying to figure out how do you convince me?
Because
you're not convincing irrational people.
Yeah,
you're convincing people who who just like are into social media and who probably got a couple extra dollars or something.
They brought the money. The coin hit the market at $10.
Like, you're not influencing people,
and it get bigger, and it get bigger. We making money. We get bigger. It get bigger, and keep putting their money in, and all of a sudden, it reached $500.
Who's ever watching? You can buy these coins, and not only that, they're tangible. You can actually put your hands on it, and they come in different colors.
But I'm gonna go straight into the next topic. So I wanted to bring up like some of the, I'm gonna put forth this question. So I was at my son's school, and one of the other children would have a conversation with me about cartoons, and I was asking them, hey, what are some of the cartoons you watch? And the kid said YouTube. So, and they were starting to mention some of these channels on YouTube that are not educational. It's just funny for the kids. But I wanted to ask you guys, what, based upon the cartoon you used to watch, how do you compare the cartoons you used to watch or TV shows or educational TV shows or cartoon shows to what we're going through now? Because I still remember Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers, all these Reading Rainbow and such. But then now we see all these, YouTube channels that not even educating the kids in a certain way. Like, do you catch yourself sitting down watching some of the educational cartoon with your kids, and you actually sit there and watch it, and you be like, oh, okay, like I like how that is, based upon like SpongeBob or some of these mind-blown cartoons that you see now?
It's not the same as it was. I mean, every now and then you still get a couple of the channels that try to go down the educational route. Like you get was it Miss Rachel or something like that?
Miss Rachel. How
you ain't got no kids?
Yeah, ain't got no. My kid, my kid is
old enough to have kids.
My kid is paying taxes.
But so yeah, it's not really the same. They don't have TV the way that we do.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
Just like, so there's nothing for them to look forward to. It's like you would look forward to the next episode of Dragon Ball Z coming out next week. You would look forward to the next episode of Power Rangers or whatever the case. It's like that's not a thing anymore. They don't even do episodic cartoons. The last cartoon that I remember my youngest watching and like actually watching,
like sitting there watching it with them, and you get into it like this is educational.
What was it? It wasn't definitely wasn't educational, but it was We Bare Bears. That show is freaking hilarious.
I do love that show.
We Bare Bears is freaking hilarious.
Oh, man.
I had the little songs they were singing. I had on my phone. We be in the car playing them.
Oh,
I
man,
heard you on
right?
the facts. The bare bone facts.
Oh man, that show.
They still on my phone. Every now and then I just be listening and like have my phone on shuffle and it just pop up sometimes.
You got me watching that shit.
Yeah, that show was
Ice Bear.
Yeah,
that dude down. He had like a rocket launcher on him and shit. He's like, Ice Bear has a permit for that.
Oh yeah, that show was great, man.
But yeah, so like that was the last show. Then before that was Boss Baby.
I know about Boss Baby.
But it's like those are like them. I'm like, all them cartoons are gone, man. They don't watch them anymore.
Yeah,
they may still make them, but they don't. I'm like, my kids don't even watch. We got these streaming things. This is why we start canceling them because they don't watch them. They just on YouTube. It's like that's the first thing they do. And like my son, he just watching the other high school kids play basketball, and like they just and it's not even like watching the game. It's like the kids are recording themselves talking to each other at the game, and every now and then they show the game. Somebody get done, and it's all crazy and stuff. And sometimes they actually recording the game and stuff. But then like in the youngest one, she just like we're on a phone, but through the TV, just scrolling through. Just watching random videos.
It ain't like Mr. Rogers, boy. You had
like little kids just making trolleys and stuff.
Oh yeah, that was sit down time. But like you said, that was all scheduled though. You had to be somewhere at a certain time. And for us, it was like always. It was Saturday morning. It was never a cartoon show during a weekday because it was all educational. Because you only had 4 channels, and the one channel that would show it was channel 11.
Wait a minute. Get that 4 channel.
Yeah, you had 4 channels. You had CBS, NBC, ABC, and Channel 11. And that was going out in the rural areas. Now, you might have picked up one or two in between that, but those were the known channels. So as far as like cartoons, you didn't get those. CBS didn't show them, but NBC and ABC showed them. And those are the Saturday morning cartoon lineups. And in terms of like the fucking durability, man, these cartoons nowadays are garbage. We watch motherfucking Bugs Bunny, Tom and Jerry, Woody Woodpecker. All of them was violent. They taught you how to take a hit.
And racist.
Yeah, racist is all get out.
Jerry with that doggone and that black lady Mammy.
Oh yeah, hey dude, that was my neighbor Beulah Brown for real. That's what Thomas.
Somebody shaking the camera.
Oh my bad. But that was my neighbor Beulah Brown. That's what we tease her son. His name was Lester. But yeah, no bullshit. But those cartoons was ultra violent. Dude, if you ain't have a stick of dynamite or some shit like that, then you wasn't learning nothing that day.
I feel like our cartoons like taught consequences and shit, like not to do certain things. Like when you watch it back then, versus now, like I be going on YouTube and looking at what my son watched, and he's watching. I don't know what you ever heard of the show Unspeakable, where he watched grown men do certain shit at their house, like I changed my whole bathroom into a pit ball, or I put a whole bunch of styrofoam in the kitchen, and we just playing and doing like some shit. I'm like, man, turn that shit off. Like, what the fuck? Yeah. That's why are you watching grown men do kid shit? Like, this shit don't.
Yeah, that's a lot of the stuff. It's weird, but I'm like, I still keep an ear, and I'm like paying attention to what it is, because like sometimes like I hear something and it'd be like, it's like you can tell it's like an adult woman's voice, but she's got the Barbie dolls and they're like talking to each other, but then like she'll start going into like actual like scenarios that would like be like adult scenarios, like, hey, I caught you kissing my boyfriend. What are you doing kissing my boyfriend? And then the boyfriend would be like, I wasn't kissing her, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what the hell? She kissed me. Yeah, stuff like that.
Bitch, watch your mouth. Don't ever come up on me with that bullshit again.
But I'm like, no, I'm like, turn it off. I'm like, no, you're not, like, what are you watching that for? Like, and for the person that's creating it, it's like, why is that something to create? It's like, you're doing this with Barbie dolls, so you know it's going to be kids watching. Why are you presenting like actual grown-up situations and stuff? It's like these kids shouldn't be like thinking about that or learning about that or even watching it. It's like, might as well let them watch Real Housewives or something. For that matter, just put them with the Barbie doll face.
Boy, it can't beat King Friday on
but
King Friday on Mr. Rogers.
Oh, I was wondering when you said it at first. I was like, there was a King Rogers on
King Friday,
King Friday. Yeah. I'm sorry, Mr.
Lady
Rogers.
Abigail, I Purdue. You remember that shit, man? That was some good ass.
Yeah, so
he teach you how to tie your shoes and do some shit in the kitchen
and be nice, and then go help your mom and shit with chores and shit.
Yeah, I try to keep an ear out, but it's like at the same time, I'm like, they just don't watch cartoons like that. They even started watching. I had introduced them to some of our cartoons because they had like HBO Max. They had like Ed, Edd and Eddy on there. And, they had Teen Titans and Dexter's Laboratory, and even they had SpongeBob and stuff. It's like I introduced them to my cartoon, but then it's like they only got so many on there, and at the same time, it's like they're all there, so it's like they just burn through them. Yeah. It's like it's not like you said, like they're not scheduled, so it's not like you gotta wait for them to come out.
And then shows were 30 minutes back then, but then you had commercial breaks, but then they're not really 30 minutes; they're only like 22 minutes.
Like 17 minutes. Like, in real life, like you watch like an episode. I'm like, hey, I watch an episode of Ed, Edd and Eddy or something like that, and I'm like, I remember this. Like, hey, this was a 30-minute block. But the little timer is like 13 minutes. I'm like, dude, that's not even half of 30 minutes. So really half of this whole show is just commercials.
Commercials, yeah.
The whole time block.
Can you get me this? Because I remember those episodes back in the day of G.I. Joe and Transformers. The Transformers came on first, then G.I. Joe. Yeah. But that motherfucker went into a part 2, you was mad to the motherfucker. You like, come on, commercial break. So
next week.
Yeah,
to find out what
son
happens.
of a bitch.
Dragon Ball Z was good for that.
Like, how the fuck am I gonna know Cobra Command to get away from this shit? Like, they had this nigga hemmed up this time. I'm almost certain they gonna get his ass.
Always.
All right.
He escaped though.
Always.
But I sent you guys the video. Not sure if you saw it, where the lady was having an interview with a person about obesity.
I saw a couple of her videos before you.
So I guess the conversation was there was a group of body positive people that were advocating for I'm not gonna say fat or overweight people, but body positive, advocating for unhealthy saturated fat. Is that what this? I believe that was.
I think the whole thing was her dispelling myths and like doubling down on actual facts regarding obesity and being overweight. And they were like disagreeing with it. And I think one of the questions was, hey, like you raise your hand or you jump up to the microphone if you feel like, you know, whatever statement that she posits is incorrect, or just you have an opinion. But I mean,
maybe that's another topic for another day. But
not necessarily. But that whole thing is just, I think that's all with this whole society of everybody is perfect and everybody is right and nobody can, you know, like make everybody feel good about themselves. There's nobody has any consequences, and you know, being fat is not unhealthy, and like there's no negative consequences that come along with it. And it's just like every time that I see stuff like that, it's like they're never speaking from a factual standpoint. They're always talking from their feelings and how things make them feel and their personal experiences. It's just like, hey, at the end of the day, calories out versus calories in is it's like, and it's not like you're gonna magically drop. You know, everybody's hormone levels are different, and how quickly you lose that weight. You know,
right. Metabolism,
all of that stuff. All of that stuff factors in. But there's no way that if you are only eating 3,000 calories a day, you should be 400 pounds. And like, I don't care how many illnesses you get and how many disorders you get. If you're eating 3,000 calories a day and you're burning around 3,000 calories a day, you're never going to become morbidly obese. It's like, that's just the way that science works. Like, there are things that can affect your psychology and make you eat, you know, and not have self-control over how much you eat. But at the end of the day, the overeating is what leads to the obesity. And it's like, that's the, like, when you distill all of the stuff, you take the feelings and the emotions and the mental instabilities and all of the stuff, depression and stuff, take all of that away. At the end of the day, it's calories out versus calories in. But they refuse, a lot of times, they just refuse to accept that as, you know, as fact. And, you know, it's always, but I do this, I do that. This happens to me this way. I have this, I have that.
Yeah, that has, to me, I'm looking at, I was like, it has a lot to do with genetics, your makeup, your, you know, again, like you said, the hormones, the metabolism levels.
What are some things that you would cause you to immediately start going to the gym? Not necessarily, you know, I don't want to say from a fat perspective, but you know how men are. Like, we stubborn, we ignorant. We don't go to the doctor unless we get dragged there on, you know, through a ambulance or something like that. Like, what are some of the things that, you know, even now, I'm pretty sure.
Well, I mean, if I'm walking down in the house or something and just fall out, then it may raise some type of concern. Like, that's weird. I might go to the doctor then. But as far as health-wise, I mean, just looking back at my mom and dad and how they were raised and how they were never like super big eaters. It was always 3 meals a day, and it was always, you know, something healthy. So it wasn't anything like outrageous. Like, we never really had a chance to get to any sweets. I will say that. It's like, that was one thing I was deprived of. So to this day, it's like, I'm not a real big sugar person, but if I find myself gaining weight, then I can easily just go back to like 2 meals a day and it doesn't affect me. Or I could just start doing push-ups, like my metabolism is stupid. It's like I'll straighten out in about 2 weeks, but I know not everybody's like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, that has something to do with your genetics. It's not necessarily 100% your fault. What you're putting in your body is that you may have to work harder than what I would have to do or what other people would have to do. So, but I mean, it's always a step. I keep telling people like, shit, it ain't a race. It's all about, you getting out there and doing something about it to begin with.
But
it's
all right. Well, all right. Let's get into the juicy topic. I know we've been going through these topics. So, community pressure. I often see that Black people get pressured into aligning with their fellow Black people because they're pressured to, because you're Black and you automatically have to align. If you say anything other than it, if you don't align with that group, whatever that social thing that's going on right now, whether if you're Hispanic, like for example, I have a Black business. I expect you to come in and support my Black business. Or for the example, like, just giving an idea. If you say anything negative about George Floyd, you're a coon. You're a sellout. You can't say nothing about George Floyd at all in any way, shape, or form. You can't say nothing negative about Obama in any way, shape, or form. I don't want you to only just focus on, the Black side of it, because it applies to every race. Every race go through something like that to where you automatically have to be on that side. And if you say anything against it, you're considered a coon. You're considered a sellout. You're not a part of the Black people. You're not a part of the group. You're not with us. But, you just have an opinion on something.
I'm sorry, real quick. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
But it happens.
No, that's all.
I'm not disagreeing. It doesn't happen, but it's still dumbest shit I've ever heard. Go ahead, please, sir.
No, it's absolutely dumb. Are we specifically speaking from the Black community, or
we're Black here? Like, do you feel? You're getting pressured when some social anxiety.
It's a difference between acknowledging that is a thing and that is an expectation, and caring. Because I acknowledge that that's a thing that, like I said, like it happens in all different communities, but we talking about the Black community. It is absolutely a thing that happens in the Black community where you are expected to align with the majority of, and whatever the loudest people in the room happen to believe. And I acknowledge that that's an expectation. I acknowledge that when if I do and when I do speak my mind on a certain thing and it doesn't align with what everybody else has to say, that I'm going to get looks, I'm going to get, comments, or I'm going to get backlash. But at the end of the day, it's like, there's no amount of looks, there's no amount of backlash, there's no amount of shit talking that will convince me to just go along with the status quo, because that's what the status quo is. Like, if I have a differing opinion, if you ask me my opinion, I'm going to give you what my opinion is. I may go ahead and preface it and be like, hey, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think my opinion aligns with yours. Do you still want to hear my opinion? I may preface it that way, but if you say, yeah, I want to hear your opinion, I'm going to give you my opinion, knowing full well that you're probably not going to like what I say.
Not me. I'm going to offer it freely, and I'm going to be right up front and tell you, like, I don't like that nigga. As a matter of fact, I don't like the niggas that like this nigga. So that's where I say it's not a point of like when people sit there and like, oh, you don't agree with this because I'm like, why? I don't know this person from nowhere. I was like, you can take any person that just because they Black Obama. And I was like, I get offended because to me, Obama is not Black. And he may be half Black, but I was like, I have nephews and nieces that are half Black and half white. And if you were to ask them, do you consider yourself Black or white? They would say no, because if I consider myself to be one thing, that would be an insult to my other parent, which is true talk. Like, how you gonna, like my brother, it's like, how's this kid gonna be like, oh, I identify with being Black? Like, well, you love your mother. It's like, so what? That side of you wasn't good enough to you to be, and it's like, I love them both. I'm like, it don't matter to me. I love my brother. I love my sister-in-law. I was like, so it doesn't matter to me. You produce these 3 kids that are cool as shit that, I get along with. So I'm not looking at what you identify with. I identify you as my nephew, as my nieces. And it doesn't go out beyond that. But I was like, again, people like, oh, well, Obama is black. No, he's not. He's half black and he's half white. He grew up in Hawaii with his white family. That would put him more on the white side than anything else. But to disagree with him would be to know Obama, which I do not. So on the outside looking in, I can say, hey, Obama, he's a nice dude, looked like he can hoop. He got 2 lovely daughters. He's stuck with his wife. I don't know what their current situation is. Really none of my business. But from the outside looking in, he seemed to be like an okay guy. Doesn't mean that I'm going to agree with him or anything that he does, therefore, is going to be like, oh, I got to hop on the boat just because of these things. No, if he do some asshole shit, in my book, like, nigga, that makes you an asshole. I was like, it's not because you look a certain way or do a certain thing, and that can apply to any white person. I was like my brother-in-law, John. I was like, I love that dude to death. I've known him for over 35 years. I was like, what does it look like for me to sit and bash all white people and like throw him in the mix? I'm like, that doesn't apply. But again, I know John. I love John. He's very supportive dude. Been with my sister for over 30-something years. It's like that dude's part of the family. So for him to do something, if he was to step out of the line, I would tell him. It's no difference. It's like, no, nigga, that sucked too. And I'm going to call him a nigga because I called him that several times. He doesn't mind.
Yeah, but
like you saying that's what
it just
and like I'm saying, it happens in all communities, but I'm like, I feel like I still need to mention that because people still look at what you're talking about and assume that you don't recognize that these things happen in other communities as well. So it's like I have to continue to say, hey, this shit happens in all communities, in all groups of people outside of race as well. But again, when we're speaking about Black folks, it's like we, still have that mentality of you with us or against us, and it's just like, why can't I disagree with you without you assuming that that I hate you? Why can't I disagree with you on one thing without you assuming that, hey, I must disagree with you on everything, or I don't like Black folks, or I don't like my own skin, or whatever kind of assumptions that you could possibly come up with as an insult from one Black person to another. And it's like, why does that have to be the thing? And I feel like we're so quick to turn on each other as soon as something looks a little off, or we disagree with you on something. And for case in point, this whole little spat that Chili is going through, Chili from TLC.
Oh yeah,
and it's like she did this thing, and I don't know whether or not it sounds a little fishy. Looking into it and the donations and the reshares and likes and stuff, or on her Instagram history of liking and resharing conservative views and things of that nature. And it's like Black folks been loving Chili since TLC dropped their first album.
This is true. I still love Chili. Not to say anything bad about your sister, nothing. I'm just saying, but
who does? That's Chili.
I just love Chili.
That's Chili. But it's just like,
maybe a little
Black
creepy.
folks been loving TLC and Chili for the longest. And then now this little thing comes out, and now all of a sudden it's like you go on Instagram page. It's nothing but just disrespectful hate comments. And it's just like, when the hell did this come? Just because
they did the same thing to Chuck Norris. And that nigga done sent plenty of people that I know to the emergency room, and all of a sudden he an asshole. I was like, oh, nigga.
Yeah, but it's like just look how easy it is for you to turn on somebody that you've been adoring and looking up to for most of the people that's like your whole life, because most of the people will be in the millennial age, and shit, she been out since we've been alive. So I think that first album was in 91 or something like that.
Yep, 1992.
Right. So I'm like, she been out and famous our entire life.
I think you're right. It's 91. Yeah.
So like, you've been adoring this person, and at the very least liking this person. your whole life.
You know,
and
as
then
soon as
all
it
of this,
happens,
soon as she, soon as some inkling of her disagreeing with you on this, particular issue of politics, whether and it's not even confirmed, it's just like all of a sudden now she's a terrible person and you hate her and all this other stuff. And then when she tries to clarify some stuff, it's still just like, nah, fuck that. You X, Y, and Z, you did this, and that's what it is for now. It's like we still love T-Boz and rest in peace Left Eye, but Chili, we don't fuck with her no more. And it's like,
and you know what? If I was Chili, I'd be like, good, because I need to get rid of the weak
well,
niggas.
she can't be like good because she got a tour getting ready to
well,
start.
so
she got to make sure
well, I mean, it's too late anyway, because even if she got a tour coming out, it's like the people already made up their mind if they went that far. And I'd be like, good for them. I was like, and that's the killer part to me with what I don't understand about black people with this mentality of automatically get hate and then all of a sudden want to turn and be like, well, fuck you then and that. Like, do you realize? I mean, you're doing the person that you dogging out, you doing them a favor. Because if your mindset is to the degree that I'm going to hate somebody for having an opinion, nigga, you the weak link. Nobody wants to be around that. I refuse to be around people, and the shit happened this weekend where I'm sitting there talking, and the conversation came up about black prosperity, and I was like, black people had an opportunity to do whatever the fuck they want to because they've done it before, and the only nigga out the group like, what about Tulsa? I'm like, nigga, you gonna pull out something that happened over 100 fucking years ago to use an example of why black people can't get shit done. These are the people that I don't want to be around because your mindset is already fucked up. If I had an enemy and I walked up to that enemy and the first thing he did was lay down, you think I'm not gonna step on him? The first thing he's going to do is lay down because he's like, Gary punched me in the face last week. I can't do it again this week, so I might as well lay down. Every time I get up to say something, the nigga smacking people, so I might as well lay down. I don't want to be associated with people like that. So you're doing me a favor. If I come out and say, fuck you, and that nigga sitting next to you, then you be like, well, fuck you. You're doing me a favor because I don't want to be surrounded by crybabies and I don't want to be surrounded by losers. And that's the exact mentality that people show off. No sooner somebody has an opinion different of their own, and the first thing out of your mouth is name calling. That's crybaby shit. Yes, get away. Get away from Chili. Get away from Nick Cannon. Get away from all these people that have an opinion and can think for themselves, that you don't have any effect in their lives. Yeah, keep saying fuck them. Yeah, get the fuck while you stuck where you at.
I think that's a luxury that as regular folks we have, but when it comes to people who rely on these,
that's selling your soul then, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it still does come down to money because
they get famous, so
a lot of people forget that, when it comes to the, hey, you support Trump or you support this, a lot of times celebrities and famous people, they are not going to vote for a party that's constantly telling you in your face, we're going to raise taxes on you. You're not going to vote for a person that's going to raise taxes on you if you have to make things that simple. But then again, you have a business and how all that stuff works. But then when you find out this person does not align with you politically, why did you assume they did in the first place? This person is rich. This person is not. Don't live on your block. This person don't live on your block.
Sums it up right there. Shit.
You don't go to their family reunions. You don't know who they are. They don't DM you in the chat or any social media. Like they are not right on your side. Half the time they're paid. Look at the most recent campaign we looked at. Look at all these celebrities that were paid to go to do all these podcasts and say, go vote for this person. I am endorsing this person. Do you know what endorsement means? Endorsement? It doesn't mean that person voting for them. It doesn't. You just paid me $5,000, $10 million, or whatever the amount is to endorse this person. That means I'm trying to convince you to vote for this person. I'm not going to vote for that person.
Because I got the paycheck.
And I think she donated $500?
What are you talking about?
Chili.
They said,
how much?
I think it was over 1,000.
Over 1,000?
But was she saying? No, that's why I was like, what? But what she was saying was she was donating to organizations that she thought were out there trying to prevent child trafficking and things of that nature.
Well, she was right.
But the she didn't read the fine print, or she didn't read or do research on who actually were funding who actually were running these programs, and they happen to be Republican programs. So
because the Democrat programs, mind you, those were the ones that was running, saying, no, don't go looking for the kids that wind up missing over 300,000 of them under the Biden administration. So they all about child trafficking. Oh, it's in there.
I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and it's real easy to find. But I got good because they picking on Chili, so that's
with this particular
some
issue,
bullshit.
it's just
she donated $500 to help find some missing kids. I'm assuming if that's if it was child trafficking. And you mean to tell me that the other side is actually getting mad about that because they're supporting the people that want child trafficking concern? Now, no, I'm just saying.
But the facts are going way off topic, though.
How is that off topic? Well, I mean,
talking about the issue of
community pressure.
Okay, I'm sorry. Well, I was trying to make a link saying that you can get community pressure for donating $500 for finding lost kids, as opposed to the other people that are condemning you want the kids to, be trafficked.
Yeah,
how about that? Is that?
I think that's how ingrained in depth some things have gotten in this country, to where you. Well, some people, not me, but some people are afraid to say who they're politically involved for, or whether if I want to support this black business, or I'm down with whatever the black people are saying to be down with. And then when those things pop up, shit, George Floyd the hero, but then when those topics pop up, some people be like, I don't want to, talk about this topic because it was a big trending issue, but then it's like, some people will say, do he deserve a medal? I don't know.
Well, what did he do?
Well, you talking?
No, I don't even want to get in that conversation yet, but never mind.
But, no, I'm just saying it even go down to what I was saying in the beginning. Certain things people are expected, or black people are expected to look at other black people and like, you can't say nothing bad about this person. You have to be on this side. You can't say anything bad about the person, no matter how you look at it.
I can.
Yeah, it's just all group thing. And like I said before, like preface all that before, it's like that's a very prevalent thing in this society, in every single group, and every single community, and every single anything with a title. It's like, hey, if you consider yourself X and if you don't agree with everything the rest of the X's say, then you are no longer an X. You must be a Y.
Yeah, I'm cool being a Y. I'm like, man, fuck it. Fuck it.
It's just like some people,
because you niggas are losing anyway, and that's the killer part. Is it's like you quick to go point something else, like, but at the end of the day, it's like you're the one that's losing. It's like you sit there with that petty like mentality. It's like you don't gain anything, but you go out there to post shit to get likes on a comment. But in actuality, you lose.
I just don't. I've never really. I think even past teenage years, it's just like outside of people who are actively a part of my everyday life. It's like I really have never been the person that cares about what the masses think or feel about a certain topic as it relates to how I move. It's just like, hey, it's interesting to see what's going on in the zeitgeist or whatever. But as far as allowing that to influence my thoughts and actions on a day-to-day basis, it's like I've never understood that and why people do it.
Well, but did you guys see the story with Christine Noel, where her husband got outed as a cross-dresser? And some people are speculating that's why Trump fired her, or et cetera, because it would have made a super bad look on his campaign and his administration because of all the stuff.
He fired her ass because she spent all that damn money on a campaign, on a commercial, and lied and said that Donald Trump approved it. He didn't.
Yeah,
and that's why she got fucking kicked out.
You don't think so?
Or reassigned, rather.
Yeah, I don't know about that, because I remember vividly Trump talking about that he was going to pay for the illegals to get deported, And if I'm not mistaken, that's what the ad was talking about.
The controversy was around the ad itself because it had her on like a horse or something, and apparently it was like $20 million or something they spent on this ad.
Oh, yeah, that I don't know.
And then that's what she was saying. Yeah, like this ad was specific, like endorsed by, and Donald Trump signed off on it, and Donald Trump was like, yeah, I ain't signed off on that shit. I ain't signed off for you spend $20 million on a damn commercial for ICE.
Yeah, that sounds that sounds iffy.
Shortly after that, that's when she got reassigned.
That sounds iffy for the simple fact is that number one is like dude knows, or if you're the president, you should already know in advance, like, hey, we're going to shoot a commercial to promote ICE, get people, and I'm pretty sure that he would have been in that conversation as much as he been standing on that. So for him to say like, no, we didn't get the budget for that, and I didn't know it was $20 million that I spent for this commercial. I like, cause the commercial was running for a minute before anybody said anything about it. And I was like, $20 million to the United States government, that's like the change I got in my pocket.
Chump change, but it's still under the light that he's under. It's like, that's just something for the Democrats to be able to poke at. Like, you spent $20 million on this fucking commercial?
Are you sure after what they just found out going to Minnesota?
That's not the point. That's like, you still, that's bringing out outside things. Like, that's not relevant to the actual, the point of it's something for them to talk shit about. And it's like,
they still talking shit about the Epstein files. I'm like, $20 million, I could easily shut that shit up.
But that's what I'm just saying. That was another one of the, like, I don't know if that, when she got reassigned for, was it the commercial, or was it the cross-dressing husband?
It probably was a cross-dressing husband. I'm going to go with
whatever
that.
The case.
Them pictures, he got the balloons up there, the nipples hard, and it's
for real. Got to be more careful.
Oh, man.
Got to be more careful.
I'd have been like, that's AI like a motherfucker. What are you niggas done AI some shit?
Anyway, man, I'm telling you.
I never understood that.
That shit is AI.
It ain't no goddamn AI.
Oh, yeah.
I never.
I'd have blamed that shit on AI.
Like, why do you do shit like that, compromise and stuff, and then take pictures? Who knows? They might never know. That might be their little humiliation ritual. They might be worth $30 billion next week.
Yeah, that's true too.
So, but yeah, like I had a topic. Did y'all hear about this comedian that's getting sued? It's an African comedian. Getting sued for I'll put it in quotes, revealing what the opening to the Circle of Life from Little Lion King. You
ever see the video?
You know the song from Lion King.
Oh yeah, I'm aware of the song. I don't know what they're saying.
They're speaking in Zulu language, I believe. And this comedian, he happens to be from that. He speaks that language.
Swahili.
I don't know if it's
I don't know what it is.
I
just made that up.
But he was on Godfrey's podcast with him and another African gentleman, and they were all like just talking or whatever. And the conversation, the topic of Lion King came up. And that's what that whole podcast is about, talking about, because, Godfrey's African, and the other gentleman, he's from Africa as well. Well, at least his family, I don't know who he is. But so that's what, they talk about. It's like stuff from Africa. They had like Boris Kodjoe on there, Gabrielle Sidibe on there. So they get a lot of, famous people who are African roots and chopping it up. And so he was talking to this comedian, and the topic of Lion King came up. And I believe it came up with, they were talking about how white folks like whitewash Africa so much. And he was like, even in the Lion King, it's like this Lion King in Africa, they all lions, but they all got American accents. It was like the only person that didn't have an American accent, or they gave Scar a British accent. He was like, that kind of made more sense since the British fucking raped over Africa a billion years
colonized
ago.
everything.
And he was like, only person with a black accent was the monkey. And that was a Caribbean accent. So they even got that wrong. So then they were talking about the intro or whatever. And they were saying, it was like, what does that mean? So he said it in a more clearer, like in the actual language, but he said it in a clearer way so you could hear his pronunciation. And they were like, so what does it mean? He's like, it means, look, it's a lion. Oh my God. And that's literally what he said. That's what it translates to. The beginning of the song. The little chant that they say at the beginning of the song. It translates to, look, it's a lion. Oh my God.
Look, there's a lion.
Oh my God. Ooh, it's a lion. He said that's what it translates to. And then, and it's like, but he's, first of all, gotta remember, he's a comedian. So it's supposed to be, he's making light of it. But in that language, apparently, lion and king are the same word. So it's like, depending on context, it's like you could be saying lion or you could be saying king.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
Obviously, in this context, he was saying it's a purposefully a play on words. You're holding up a lion, but the meaning
lion,
behind
king,
it is, look, it's a king.
Oh, and then God. All the animals were bound down. So okay. So that's well, that ain't so bad.
But the creator of it, I forget what his name was, but he's an African gentleman, and he took like super offense to that. He said, "Oh, you're denigrating my work. You made light of this. It's supposed to be a empowering, uplifting chant, and you made light of it just by saying that, oh, it's a lion, and that's not what it means."
And what did the creator say?
That's what the creator is saying. That's the creator who's saying this.
Saying that's not what it means.
He's saying that he's making light of it by saying that it's saying, oh, look, it's a lion. But it's really saying, look, it's a king. But like I said, king and lion are the same word in this language, apparently. So, but he took offense to it because he's like, you're making light of my work that, has stood the test of time all 33 years or something like that.
Wait a second. He's mad because he's being picked on by a badly written song? I'm lost.
So the comedian made a joke on the podcast.
Right. And then
the creator heard it, and he's upset with the comedian for denigrating his work. He's like downplaying his work, and he's saying it's not correct. Like he's basically
he's mad he got a critic, basically. Because that's what it boils down to. When you have a critic and the critic doesn't agree with your work, then your critic says something bad about your work.
It wasn't even a criticism. It was again, he was translating the lyrics. Oh. And he gave a literal translation versus, the theatrical translation. It's just like, looking at something written in like Shakespeare or something like that. It's like you can say the actual words that, were written down, but that there's a different meaning behind it. Mm-hmm. But instead of acknowledging that, the true meaning of it, a rose by any other name is just a rose. It's like, he's not really just talking about the flower. He's talking about, love and all that other stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's just like, making all this big ass deal about a flower. He's just talking about a flower. And so he took offense to that. And he's talking about, oh, he's ruined my reputation, and he's costing me money and all this other stuff. And come to find out, it was like the guy got a hold to the comedian's phone number. He reached out to him, and he's led off with kind of like insulting language or whatever. And the comedian was like, okay, well, this is an opportunity for us to talk and hash it out and to actually make sure that he understands that, hey, I'm a comedian. I was making light of this, and I know what it actually translates to. Mm-hmm. So it's like, this is what we do. This is comedian. It's like, I respect you. I respect your work, and apparently he's a composer in Africa. Made a lot of other shit in Africa, but I don't know.
This motherfucker would have had to been a warlord in Africa for me not to take that phone call out of
forget. But no, he said it started off, with a little hostility, and then the comedian kind of responded, in a way trying to like de-escalate a little bit, and then he said something else insulting, so then the comedian went in. He was like, all right, well, fuck you then. They ended with that, and then next thing you know, the comedian's on stage in America, and then somebody walks up with a manila envelope like, "Hey, you've been served." Drops it on stage.
I would have kicked that shit right off the motherfucker.
He sued him for $75 million.
The fuck out of here!
Dude, I ain't got $75 million.
Not only that, what are you going to win based off of?
Nothing. And that's the thing. I looked at you. It's like, dude, you got to prove. I think he's suing him for defamation and all this other stuff. It's like, dude, you got to prove a whole lot. You got to prove that he mistranslated it, which he didn't, technically. You got to prove that he knew the correct translation and he mistranslated it on purpose. And he did all of this with the intent to make you look bad and all of that. And none of those things are true.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
still
only
thought
thing-
Walt Disney made that movie.
But he doesn't work for Disney, right? The guy that's suing him.
No, it's got nothing to do with Disney. It's a personal civil lawsuit between.
Yo, man, that's gonna
that
get. That sounds like it's just as bad as when people found out when Mario would say, "It's a me, it's a Mario." No, he's saying it's Sumi. Like in Japanese, it's Sumi Mario, like Super Mario. A lot of people didn't know that, and it was a big conflict. Yeah, like I think
something like that.
Yeah, something
Wasn't
like
they
that.
the game creators of that?
Yeah, but there was a
company?
big thing online where it was going back and
It's
forth,
me,
and
Mario.
then it took for the creator that made that statement for Mario to say like, no, it's in Japanese because Japanese.
It's Sumi,
Yeah, it created it then, but then now you got this with two people going back and forth. I mean,
But yeah,
and they black.
and they both
They're
black.
not black. They're African.
Well, I'm sorry, African.
They're black Africans. Sorry.
No,
Yeah.
African and black.
All right, with your racism, just easy.
It's just culturally, they don't even fuck with that shit.
Yeah,
they would take offense to you.
Yeah,
calling them black.
you're
Like,
not wrong.
What if they publicized the whole trial and
It's not even gonna go to trial.
You don't think
It's
it's gonna
not.
go?
I don't
Yeah,
think it's
because
gonna
you
go.
can't.
If he's suing him in the country that he's from in Africa, I'm not sure which country he's from. But I don't know what their rules are, so they may have a little bit less of a burden of proof there. But if he's suing him in America, that's not gonna go. Well, a judge is gonna throw that out. So,
Yeah, then you gotta get whatever jurisdiction you were served in. But
that's true. Yeah, that's
I
true.
think he was in America
Because you can't serve no motherfucking papers from Africa in America. I'd have set them bitches on fire right then and there. Like, this means absolutely nothing. I'd have wiped my ass on that on stage.
I don't got no passport. I can't get there.
Can you sue somebody in America if you're not an American citizen?
Hell no. Well,
if you can serve them the papers, but then
no, if you're not an American citizen, can you sue somebody in American jurisdiction?
not from where you're at. If you're in Africa, you can't like send papers over here to the United States. I don't think you can do that.
But you got to sue where the offense or the actionable cause happened.
I believe that is correct. Yes,
something like that. To that extent,
I mean, I think that would be the same.
We can look that up.
I think Doctor's podcast is in LA, I believe.
Yeah.
And he was on stage, and I believe it was an American audience. But yeah, I'm just like, dude, so what? I think we had this conversation again already, as far as like, hey, what happened to comedy being, the thing that's off limits, or it's separate thing where, hey, you can do, you can say these things that are, not socially acceptable in public, but if you are a comedian, this is your profession, you're on stage, you're on your job, this is where you can say these things, that you can poke these topics and these conversations and stuff. And this is where it's acceptable to be discussed.
I think, and
it's like the comic stage and the barbershop. It's like two places where you could talk about anything.
I think as far as being a comedian, I what would be those things that's completely off topic that you can't talk about?
It's supposed to be nothing.
It is supposed to be nothing, but then some people, you get the people that don't laugh or don't find it funny, but then that's a certain selective group, because you can make jokes about Trump all day, every day. People can make, people are making jokes about Charlie Kirk all day, every day. People making jokes about George Floyd all day, every day. When is a talking point, right? When is popular? Everything. It's just what is completely off limit. I seen Holocaust jokes. I seen slavery jokes. I seen,
I've seen rape jokes.
I've seen rape jokes.
I've seen molesting jokes. I've seen all types of jokes. And I've seen from all of these topics that's not supposed to be talked about, I've seen jokes about them that I've laughed at. I've seen jokes that I was like, that wasn't even funny. And I've seen jokes that I fucking died laughing at. From all of these topics that you're not supposed to be talking about. Rape to 9/11 to George Floyd to Donald Trump to Obama to everything. It's
Don't forget about the spacecraft Challenger. Those some bad jokes.
Every possible topic that you're not supposed to talk about. I've heard a comedian find a way to make it funny. Some more than others, and some not at all.
But do you think, based upon the topic you brought up, do you think it should lead to legal action, or it stays in that realm? I know we talked about Drewski, whether if you say I'm going to sue you for whatever the case may be, unless you're trying to go up there and be one of those comedians and say, I'm going to tell you guys the story, whether if it's factual or not. You see these comedians tell these stories, and then, of course, it creates a buzz to where everybody want to go look up that story to see if it was real or not. Or they say, hey, me and my friends, we did this in California and this happened and we got arrested. Or when a famous person or a comedian gets arrested and then they use it in their stand-up and they tell you a story about it, but then, can you sue for it? Even now, I know we see it now with the Drewski thing. Like, how far do you think they're going to get? You think they're going to try to?
I think anytime you have a comedian on stage with a microphone in his hand, you should assume that he or she is either lying or exaggerating.
Oh, yeah.
And to assume that a person is on stage with the intent to make you laugh and is telling the 100% truth, I feel like then you are just a dumb person, period. Just point blank. It's like, it just, that doesn't make sense. Because how many stories do you think a person can tell you with 100% honesty and accuracy that are actually legitimately funny? It's like you'll run out of stories. I'm like, it's you end up repeating stories over and over again. It's like, yeah, I know, people go, say the same jokes, especially when you go on tours, like you're telling the same set at different cities and stuff like that. But it's just like, how long do you think a person's career would last if they didn't exaggerate any stories or didn't make up facts or anything like that? It's like, no, like you go to a comic show to laugh, and majority of the things, I feel like 80% of the stuff that you hear are going to be just like made up stuff or exaggerated things or things that are bent a little bit. It's like got some truth to it, but it's not really like that. And it's like, it's with the purpose of making you laugh. It's like the same thing with your mama jokes. Love your mama so fat.
Man.
It's like, your mama ain't that fat.
Or
So
those
it's
rap
like,
battles, rap battles, they be getting heated because they be going into personal details.
Rap
We
battles,
used
that's
to
different.
sit
They be actually looking
and
at
like,
real stories and be talking
you
about
would
that
have to
shit.
be prepared. And that started at third grade for me, is that when the lunchtime came and you used to sit down and go in on whoever. Man, it was this one kid named Michael, and he got it rough because he was kind of a big dude. But we had roasting sessions, and that lasted all the way through high school for me. So it's like, that was entertainment. We ain't had the internet. So shit, we had to do something. So it was talking about how broke you were, talking about your mama, talking about your mama pretty much again. But it normally end up talking about your mama. But there was a lot of your mama jokes.
Yeah,
But I mean, that's all it was. No reason to go sue nobody over it.
Yeah, I think it's just deal with this whole culture of being overly sensitive.
But how bad
people are finding out that a lot of lawyers are doing you only pay if you win type shit. So now it's like everybody's all of a sudden like overly litigious. It's like, why all of a sudden you so litigious? Because you don't have to pay for that lawyer. A lot of lawyers not requiring you to put a retainer down. It's like, hey, I'm gonna take your case. If I take your case, then you only pay if you win. So now everybody want to start suing people.
That's so lame.
It is.
That's just as bad as going to an amusement park in a wheelchair, and then you don't read the signs or the proper signs, where it's handicap parking, but then you can't find handicap parking, but handicap parking is over there. And then you try to do a news story about it and try to sue, but you never actually found the handicap parking. That's.
This is a true story because you sound pretty broke up about it.
No.
Yeah. Oh no, okay, just check.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it a true story? Yes, it definitely. At my job, it definitely.
Oh, but not to you.
Not to me.
You wasn't driving around looking for a handicap.
No, I wasn't driving looking for a handicap. It just some people try to push that notion.
Yeah,
sharing stories about my job, that'll be.
Because that's what they try to get away from, and that's what it sounds like. You just try to get away with something using the most lame excuse on shit ever. And it's just like that's where people are nowadays.
But do you think it's like people will sue for almost anything nowadays. The Oreos are not real Oreos, or you go to Subway and a tuna's not real tuna.
You know what?
And then now all of a sudden you get $5 million. We seen that shit happen.
That's different. I think them motherfucking companies should be sued for putting out some stuff and saying it's one thing and it ain't. Like that damn Taco Bell shit, the 100% ground beef. That shit ain't 100% ground beef. That's a brand name.
So
you just feed this
who
to
fell for that one?
Everybody.
Everybody my ass, because I knew immediately that all you got to do is go eat one taco and wait 20 minutes. You know damn well that motherfucker was not real at all. I never went to Taco Bell thinking I was going to get me something edible and real other than them damn apple empanadas, and those motherfuckers was delicious.
Eating cardboard.
Yeah, you eating worse than that shit.
Sawdust and rat
Yeah.
But
they made it taste good. Especially on a Mexican pizza, the motherfuckers was delicious. Shit.
Yeah, but that shit, yeah. That's different.
There's no lawsuit in there.
Fucking just
but what if? Do you think there is do you think a comedian could go up on stage in blackface and start making jokes about it? Of course, there's going to be a community outrage and all this other stuff that's going on. I mean, we've seen people protest Dave Chappelle for some of his jokes, and they really tried to, the LGBTQ plus. That's a whole other conversation. Just by making pussy jokes and dick jokes.
And then it's like, dude, that's been going on since jokes been invented. So why get about now? I just watched Richard Pryor live on the Sunset Strip. Shit, they couldn't play that nowadays. Oh, no. Not from the shit that he was talking. But again, it's like it's comedy, and people gotten way too softened in their feelings, and that's why we fucked up as a society now, because it's not gotten to a point where you hear something and you take it. It's like you hear something and now you got to express to the whole world about how you feel about it. It's like, we don't give a fuck how you feel about it. It's like, if it wasn't funny to you, then it wasn't funny. But it was funny to somebody else. So let them, appreciate that laugh. I don't need to hear about how you feel about something. I can give two shits less about how you feel.
Yeah, Kevin Hart said he gonna break that doll house over the kid's head.
You said what?
When Kevin Hart made a joke about smashing a doll house over his kid's head if they thought a certain way about, I don't know.
No, it was a joke about him being as a dad, finding out your son is gay, and how disappointed you would be as a dad to find out your son is gay or whatever. And he was like, I wouldn't love him any less, but at the same time, I would like it if he wasn't gay. And it was, going to, I can't remember verbatim word for word what the joke was, but it was like, if his son asked him for a dollhouse or something, he's like, I'll break it down, smack him over the head with a dollhouse or something.
Fucking outrage.
Really?
Yes.
And the joke is like, over 10, 15 years old.
Oh, damn.
The joke is from one of his early stand-ups.
Well, that's just stupid. It really is.
I think it was from like his second. I think it's like second or third special or something like that.
And think about, for example, like what would that have,
when he was funny?
Would that have looked like moving into the future? Because there was actually a law. I don't know if y'all familiar with this, but in Virginia, the kid, I think he was like 7 or 8 years old, go to school and tells the teachers that he's transgender and then get home and the parents are like, hey, you go sit your ass down in the corner somewhere. But the kids go back to the school, tell the teachers that, hey, my parents not feeling this transgender thing. They made it a law that if your child at the age of 7 or 8 years old comes home and decide that they feel like they've been misgendered, then if the parents don't accept it, then you can be snatched out of that home. And then it was an actual case that happened where and I'm sitting there like, dude, so you mean to tell me that the government can now come and tell your child that it's free for them to think a certain way, and if you don't agree with what your child, like the one that you produced, if they feel that shit isn't right, then somehow they could snatch your rights away as a parent? And just to say that in terms of this generation that's coming out, meaning that you can't say nothing because everybody's feeling is hurt, Can you imagine if that was to progress and just keep growing to the point where you couldn't say anything to anybody? Because mind you, before they got rid of this DEI shit, it's like you couldn't misgender anybody or mispronoun. If you said it not knowingly, that person could sue you because that dude felt like he was a female that day. And you was like, hey man, get out my way. And now all of a sudden he's offended and you find yourself in a courtroom sitting.
Emotional distress.
Yeah. Over some bullshit. I was like, so can you imagine had that got ramped up and what we look towards in the future, meaning that how society will run and operate? Not to say that it can't go back there because they definitely fighting for it.
You know what? I think that would not be in the best interest of the country in general, because I think stuff like that would definitely lead to a civil war-ish type of escalation, because then you are going into tyranny at that point, because now the government is reaching way too far into your personal life and what you're doing with your life. And at that point, you're gonna have a lot of people who are willing to die behind it. A lot of people.
Yeah, we definitely see how they react, especially when you walk past or you meet an individual that identifies in a certain way, and their immediate response or hostility just based upon the first interaction, like, I didn't know you look like a man.
It's immediate victim.
Immediate victim, and it is I know it's a growing topic, but they are making progress. They are making way more progress than Black people are.
Don't get surpassed us a long time ago. They did that under Obama. That's some bullshit.
Speaking of which, dude, I just saw this video of there's a transgender lawyer.
I did see that shit.
Man, did you see it too?
No, you don't have to tell me. I think I saw.
This gentleman is giving the judge attitude, and he believes that the judge is not favoring him for in whatever way before the clip started, because he is a transgender law attorney and I guess has his own law firm or something like that. So he begins to give the judge attitude, and the judge is like, hey, look, you keep this up, I'm gonna hold you in contempt. And he's like continuing just being sassy and back and forth with the judge or whatever. And eventually it escalates. I think like he threw his phone down, set his phone down on the bench or whatever, and it fell or whatever. Then they started talking about that, and then eventually it escalated to the bailiffs coming over and they basically had to tackle him, because they were like, all right, you're being held. Judge was like, you're in contempt now, take him away. And he started yoking him up or whatever, and he's fighting back and stuff, but obviously due to biology he's not getting very far because it's two male officers. And he got a full beard, but he ain't got no balls. So he ain't got the strength to put up a fight against two male officers. So they end up tackling him down to the ground or whatever. And immediately he starts screaming he starts screaming, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Oh my God, somebody help. I can't breathe. Call 911. I can't breathe. Somebody get a female officer. I want a female officer. Oh, so now you want a female officer? Why do you want a female officer, sir?
Right.
Sir, why do you want a female officer? What reason would you have to request a female officer?
That shit was crazy.
Oh, so I guess you a woman again now. So you want a female officer. I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it to say, I'm a woman. You're doing this to me. I was waiting for it to slip out, but it never did.
Yeah, I wasn't waiting that far, but I did hear when you requested the thing. I didn't even put that together because I was too busy laughing. Because, dude, she's basically telling like, hey, wrap this shit up. Let's get up and go.
Yeah, and you started talking about the video. I know exactly what video you're talking about. But I think like if you were to take that, this movement and apply it to the schools or the kids or anything in life, it would be civil war, because you do have a lot of people that are Christian and they have a Christian faith and they don't align with that idea that moved along where you're a man or you can identify as a woman.
It's deeper than
it's very deep.
It's deeper than just religion. It's about the government telling you what you can and can't do in your own home.
Yeah, but I don't know if that would result to a civil war, because I'm like, who would go fight it? Like, I don't understand the right wing getting upset about it. And like, you know what? I'm about to but I'm like, it ain't these motherfuckers that sitting there crying for a female officer. They not about to go get strapped up and loaded up. And I don't see.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But, so it'll end up being the people who are vehemently opposed to that stuff and the law enforcement people who are just so devoted to their job that they'll follow orders regardless of regardless of whether or not they
the same thing they were talking about when if you have a child that identifies in a certain way, in which I thought it was something where when a child identifies in a certain way, they can become emancipated from their parents or something like that.
Yeah,
and because of what the child thinks and the parents lose all their rights, I know. Was that under that same line? Because I know a lot of people were going against it, but then it was like you still kind of need your parents for to do surgery in school. But then it gets real deep where you get the furries. I'm not sure if you saw the story with the furries and the children.
That's just some kinky shit,
man. No. Maybe I'm using the wrong word, but you had students in school that were identifying as animals, and then they were trying to use. And they were trying to use the litter box in the hallway because they couldn't put it in the bathroom because of whatever reason. Like, how do we get that far?
Being fucked up again by letting these people talk about and which never makes sense to me. It's like, how do you apply your feelings in the government? That's not what it's for. You can't find it in any preamble. You can't find it in any constitution. You can't find it in any of the founding fathers' paperwork where it says we give a fuck about your feelings. It doesn't exist. So it's like, to put that into government is just like, hey man, go find another organization, some privatized business that belongs in that shit, and you keep it over there. Nobody's going to disrespect you as a right as a human being, meaning your your right to vote or any of that other shit. But when you start getting into the mix, talking about I have to identify you as a fucking cat. Like, no, get the fuck out of here.
It comes from is the people who believe these things happen to identify themselves as a certain party. And then once that party recognizes, hey, a large portion of our voter and large portion of our demographics feel this way. So I think we're going to have to start addressing some of these things, or they're starting to put pressure on us and saying, hey, this is how we feel and we feel attacked and we don't feel safe under these conditions. And it's like, hey, we are your constituents and you need to do something about this and make sure that we feel safe.
Like the Somalis.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I know the group, I know the overall thing, but I don't know specifically what you're talking about. But you always do that, just throwing some random stuff that got nothing to do with what I'm saying.
No, it has something to do with it. You just identified everything.
But you threw me off track.
I'm sorry, my bad. It was a funny joke in my head. I was man. I thought it was funny. My bad. Go ahead, continue.
I'm off track now. But anyway, I'm like, they started, speaking up and being like, hey, this is the things that we care about. And, we are in your constituency. So you need to start addressing these things. Or I don't know if they started putting out awards, but it's like, apparently they got the message and they was like, hey, okay, so shit, this is what our people want. So we want them to continue voting for us, keep us in power. I guess we got to start making some policies that they like and make them feel safe.
I think it backfired to the point now where they're finding out this kind of monster that they created with having so many groups and all feelings and the DEI. It's like now that shit is cracking up and people that were in the party, and this is as far as Democrats are concerned, that was in the party, some of the older generation are looking at it like, we don't recognize it anymore. It's not the civil rights that we fought for is not those things that we were pushing for in terms of our community. And what instead happened is that got hijacked by different people like the LGBTQ community that was using those rights as civil rights, and those communities that wanted to be transgender and all that, they used those rights under the civil rights to get what they achieved. And now you even have like the Somalis out there using Jesse Jackson and talking about we shall overcome shit. And motherfuckers like, wait a second, no, that's not how you do that shit. Like that don't apply nothing to y'all. But they're gonna use it anyway. And I bet you to a degree they'll be successful about it. So
yeah, as long as they're able to organize enough and come to a consensus as a community and be like, hey, look, this is what we're all standing for. And either you help us out on this or we're not gonna go for you. They'll start getting
they already one chick was already start talking about so they need reparations for illegal immigrants. I was like, how
I saw that video.
fuck does that work?
One of y'all send that to the group chat? Yeah, man, that was the dumbest shit.
I was telling you.
I guarantee you they're gonna start. That's gonna become a talking point. I wouldn't guarantee you, but I would not be surprised
if that would have happened.
Wait, what? That they get it?
That
they
at the
actually
very
get
least
brought to the no.
Yeah, at the very least that it gets brought to the
floor. That was what that's if I forgot the lady name. I don't even know her name. Whatever the Democrat
dumbass,
the lady Democrat representative or whatever. We're talking about migrants should get reparations for the trauma stuff that they've been through. The idea that they would even bring that to the floor, the House floor, to even vote on it. What type of message would that send to black people?
We don't give a fuck.
Right.
That would be
just
insane.
Showed you already. I like if you didn't know,
if you didn't figure it out by now,
right? Then that's definitely like one of the biggest nails in the coffin.
I hope it do.
Would that be insane?
I don't hope they do because that shit is so that honestly like bring a tear to my eye because to me it's just saying that all this shit that black people go through, and I'm not claiming any black person. I'm just stating that people claim that they go through all this shit. And it's like for your dumb ass to sit up there and now let another group of people just come in and get reparations for some shit you've been begging for like what, 400 years?
I'm not saying I hope they get it. I hope that it becomes a actual thing that the politicians start. It becomes a real talking point. Yeah. And hopefully it will be a real wake-up call. And I think that it will wake up a lot. I don't think it'll wake up everybody.
I don't think so.
I think it'll wake up a lot. I think it'll wake up a good chunk. Hopefully. And I'm like, because I feel like it needs to be something just like I said before. I'm like, I feel like it needs to be something very drastic and extreme to really cause a great schism in this whole black equals Democrat thing. I'm like, if there needs to be something to break that up, it's like it should be the little slash that goes in the black. We got the equal sign and then you got the not equal sign. Mm-hmm. It should be that. It should be black does not equal Democrat, and you need to vote based on the values that you individually hold and what the individual politician is putting forth. And I feel like I've said it a bunch of times. I'm like, it's going to take something very drastic and completely insulting and no way that you could possibly spin it to make it look like something else that it's not. And it's going to take something of that magnitude to get a very large chunk of black people to be like, you know what? I've been trying to rock with y'all. I've been trying to stay on Team Blue, but I can't ignore this.
Some niggas, it takes really takes a lot to insult them. Because I'm like, if you ain't been insulted by now, Malcolm X was saying this back in 1964, that they take care of everything first, and now here you come You come last. They did it with LGBTQ. They done did it with motherfucking DEI. They done did it with Ukraine. They done did it now with the illegals. Out of all these motherfucking years, you can just sit and see where somebody else came along in the process of you so-called black people getting your shit. Somebody else then came along and went in front of the line. And that's why I can't understand how some dude arguing about them kicking people out. I was like, why are you mad that you fucking voting in for your replacement? Like literally. Once they get your vote, and right now they're not too far behind. I think it's like 48% of black people vote as opposed to damn near like 50-something% Hispanic. So it's like when it's time for them to get in the office, they're not going to vote for your interests. So you are literally voting for your replacement. And you can't tell them shit because then it'll be way too late. If you hit the minority, it's over with. And just like they did with Jasmine Crockett when they were sitting there complaining, remember, she's like, oh, the Mexicans didn't come out and vote for me because, yes, exactly. They're not coming out to vote for you. They had no intentions on it. You assumed that they would. So now by everybody sitting up here, oh, leave them alone. Don't just get bullshit. Get rid of these motherfuckers because they're not supposed to be here. And they about to replace you motherfuckers. And you think you're crying about some shit now? Oh.
Man.
Yep, that's what it's going to look like.
Because nowadays,
that's what look like.
It's just nowadays when she got up there and said, we done picking cotton. Like, no, we're not in those goddamn times anymore. Like, who the fuck is picking cotton right now?
Right.
Shit, you know how much you have to pay a person to do that shit? We got machines now. Like, why keep that notion? Why keep pushing that idea on the people? It's not favorable. It's not good. It makes your stomach turn. It doesn't look good as a politician.
Because it's what he said last time, and it's been popping up in my head ever since. Like, hey, this is what she thinks of these people.
Right.
And like, you're not saying it out loud. Well, you're saying it out loud.
No,
you're not saying directly that these are the only things that these people are worth, and this is what they are doing. This, you're not saying word for word that, but you are saying that.
Yeah.
And it's like for you to sit there, like you saying, like, man, for you to sit there and say, who else is gonna be cleaning our hotels and
right?
And
she wasn't the only one.
No, she wasn't.
I'm just the loudest voice in the room. So yeah,
it like even going down to these like the talk shows. Like I can't stand The View because it seems like they just want you to have one mindset. Half the time, whenever I talk about The View, they be like, "Oh, it's a bunch of failed actors, a bunch of failed people that's on a talk show that don't know anything, and they choose when they want to be upset." Like newsflash, these people are not for you. Like if you see them in person, these politicians or these famous people that's advocating for one side or the other, they're not going to stop there and give you money. Like pull their car, like, hey, you got all this money, like help me, and you talking about you for the black people and you for the community, like give me $5 or give me $50. You get the rapper that does that. Let me pay for your college funds and all this other shit. But it's just like these famous people do not care about you. These politicians do not care about you.
And the killer part when you bring up The View, especially listening to Whoopi Goldberg, because I used to really back in the day how she came up, especially as a comedian, because that was during my era when she came about and came famous, and she did some real impressive shit. I mean, Color Purple, I was like, I'm not going to knock that or anything. Her acting ability, again, her early comedy. But to sit there and made as much money as you have done in your life, it's like Whoopi doesn't know. Whoopi hadn't known what it's like to be a black person since like 19. When did Ghost come out? Because she left the plantation so it's like 1987 or something like that. So she hasn't been black then. So for you to come on and you got millions of dollars and saying we in the struggle, it's like that right there should be an insult.
I think she had a different struggle. She still had to navigate being in Hollywood as a black female actress. And that shit ain't.
Here's a newsflash. Every black person in Hollywood has to come black.
But that's the thing that they've been talking about. Like,
right.
it's still,
so it's
still a different struggle. It's a struggle, But it's a different struggle.
But it's
it ain't the regular struggle, like you're saying, to your point.
Mhm.
They ain't the struggle that the average people that she's talking
Oh,
to
yeah.
through the
right.
lens is
But
going
and
through.
also you chose that struggle. If for whatever reason Hollywood didn't work out, nigga, didn't nobody tell you to
it's
stay
a
in Hollywood.
better
You
struggle
chose
than
to
living out
stay.
here. with
We
regular folk.
don't know that, but nobody told you to do it. If we in a struggle, it's like we don't have to stay in a struggle. We find something different. And if it was that bad for Whoopi Goldberg to make all those millions that she's worth now, and it was that much of a struggle, she didn't have to. She could have become a plumber or something.
Yeah, but it kills me when she gets on TV and she said it's more dangerous to be a black woman or a black person in America than it is for a white person in. I'm sorry, than it is for a woman in Iran. Like, how the fuck are you making statements like that? That shit make no fucking sense.
Yeah, that's
Like,
what that show's about to beat it real soon anyway.
Good Lord. Then, and then they bring on these other people on there to try to get them on their side, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then he getting on there treating them like, you a guest in this country if you're outside.
When I first came to America, I had all my dreams.
I mean,
and I've worked out. I've got big, and I'm Arnold. No, you are a guest.
But
I never have to run for the chopper.
They all, it's like they've lost touch, and it's like as much as, and not even just The View. I'm talking about all them celebrities, all them super rich people. It's like they are not the things that they advocating for is they're not struggles that they have to face and deal with, and they're not. But I'm like, it's not saying that it's wrong for them to continue advocating for it, because they know that there are real people in the world who are dealing with these things. But it's just like you can't really like glue yourself and hold on to their words like that as a regular person, because it's like at the end of the day, it's like they've got enough money to fix a whole lot of the stuff that they're complaining about, but yet they choose to continue doing whatever the hell they want, which they got every right to do.
Yeah, they got to get them advertisement dollars.
That interview I saw, I don't remember who the interviewer was or who was speaking to him, but it was to Mark Cuban. And I actually like Mark Cuban. You think he's a pretty decent dude. But they were talking about the war in Ukraine, and they were asking, do we, how do you feel about U.S. supporting it? And Mark Cuban was like, I think we should support it, and we should be, they were talking about how much money we spent, and sent over there and stuff. And he was saying, yeah, I think, we should, support Ukraine and helping them, get blah, 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 whatever. And the guy was like, how much money have you sent over there? And then he was like,
I know what you do.
He was like,
I do.
He was like, and I'm not talking about your taxes, because we all know that, the billionaires and stuff, they got like 90% of the taxes, so we're not talking about that. How much money have you specifically sent over to Ukraine? Especially considering your whole family is from Ukraine.
Oh, damn.
So how much money have you sent over? He was like, I haven't sent it. So how the hell, I think it was Piers Morgan. He was like, so how the hell, Tucker Carlson. And he was like, so how the hell can you advocate for regular taxpayers' money to go to Ukraine when you aren't even sending your own money over?
Wow.
And he said something along like, I have family over there. And he was like, well, you first. Then he got quiet.
No, yeah. He was like, He's like,
wow.
You want to support Ukraine? You first. You go. You send your money over there, or your son, or you go strap on a helmet and you go over there.
Because after the findings, they found out that over 50% of the shit, including weapons, money, and all that other shit, just came up missing.
All that shit.
Yeah, it's like we can't locate any of this shit. But speaking of the war, then I'll let this shit go. I gotta show this shit because I thought this was fucking hilarious. So right now we are looking at a map. I'm going to zoom into Iran, and everybody keeps talking about this because it's just the end thing to talk about. Like, oh, how we're going to lose a war with Iran and all this other shit. And remember that video I was playing for you, Diamond, and we was talking about the ones that countries that they wanted to have knocked out. So Afghanistan was on that list. That was one. It was Syria, which is somewhere over here. That was like one. Then they had Egypt that needed to be under control. Libya that they needed. Algeria that they needed. The last one on their list was Iran. So I was sitting there thinking about it. I was like, well, it made sense back in the day for them to mention this. The only problem is Iran was getting assistance between Russia and China. But now that China is going bankrupt due to all the shit that happened over the course of the last year and this current year, it's like they're losing money. Russia is being bled dry by their war with Ukraine, so they have literally nothing. So now it left Iran here by itself. But then when you watch it, this is all an oil hub, which is why they're trying to control it anyway. If they knock Iran out the box, then they have no rivals here. You have the Houthis that are in Yemen, and they only control like this small district over here. And Israel already vowed that they're going to blow them out the water. They're not even really considered a threat. But when you go back and look at it, if dude was right, they'd have knocked out all they would have eliminated all the issues that they had in the Middle East, only to leave Israel in charge of this entire oil industry. So they would be in control of what's happening because Saudi Arabia is on board. All these other Muslim countries, they don't even fuck with Iran like that because Iran is Shia. And the rest of these are Sunni and Shiite Muslims, which they do not get along. So Iran right now is isolated because they have nobody that's around them that can actually help. And again, these countries, Saudi Arabia, Oman is not involved with them. Yemen only has the Houthis, and everybody else is like, fuck you. So if they wipe out Iran right now, all that Middle Eastern oil shit falls right back into Israel, which falls right back into U.S. hands.
Show the straight Hummus.
Oh. And from a gameplay, like if we were playing a game of Risk, I was like, that would be the perfect move. So this would be the Strait of Hormuz. And what they're talking about now is that they're going to look in terms of cutting a line straight through here. They said it would cost about $10 billion.
That's it?
That's it?
Oh, $10 billion ain't a lot of money.
Well, not only that, too,
to carve through.
Yeah, to make a way through here.
Do some shit like that.
Yeah, but it's like this is a mountainous region. It's like they got like super high mountains and shit like that, if you look at it from a satellite. So this is all that super rock shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. That's it? 10 billion? That don't seem like a lot of money.
Oh, billion?
Yeah. Did you say billion or trillion?
I don't want to say it was billion.
But how deep does that actually go down into the crevices and stuff? Like, would you have to actually create a pathway? It can be done, but then...
Yeah, they said it can be done. It ain't gonna happen no time soon. But these are like these regions are those
more than $10 billion too.
Mountain regions that they would have to blast through. So you can see they got highways and shit through it. But in order to build a port through, which they were talking, but if they are able to eliminate the Iran on that side, then they won't have anything to worry about. The Strait of Hormuz can be cool. But they saying that, hey, if it's not, nigga, we prepared to blow holes all through this rock and create our own lane. And,
Yeah. Also,
war times.
Also, Israel can start taking over all this shit over
there. Israel, they little homie. And I mean, if you look at it on the strategic map, I'm like, dude, it's not a horrible idea. I mean, if that's what you wanted to do in terms of conquest, that's the way to do it.
I'm just like, dude, we not in the like. Wait, are we moving backwards as human civilization? Are we moving backwards?
I still think it's war politics, but we are going to
building empires and kind of like. Drawing a blank, but
I don't think
conquering, sovereign nations and just
that's what war is.
Yeah, I don't think we ever stopped.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize that this is what war is. You go in and take over certain territory that's not following in line. Whether if they're in NATO, then all of a sudden you got to go in and make a change. Then war is not fought like how I know I said before. War is not fought like how it was back in the 1930s and shit. The person on the goddamn horse leading the charge. Like that is not how war is fought.
Right. No, I'm just talking about. Just wars in general and the justifications for them. And it's like if somebody poses a actual serious threat to you, I can understand having a beef with them and you know.
But you know how this war got started. Right? All that money got sent.
No, I know. But I'm saying that. But that's my whole issue is it's about money, and we pretending like it's not. Like
I'm not. Shit.
No, not we. I'm talking about the outward facing statements that are getting put out there. It's like they're not saying, hey, look, we want to go blow up Iran because we know that it's a hell of a lot of money in it that we do.
I could have sworn I heard Trump say that when he was sitting there talking about, it's about the oil. Like, don't get it misled, because that's why all the prices are up. And I was like, that's no different from what George Bush did in 2003. It's like, we knew it was about to get. No, I'm like, I don't.
No, it's different between knowing what it's really about and what they're saying, because at the end of the day, their whole justification for this is still, hey, Iran poses an existential threat to Israel, and they want to blow up Israel, and Israel is our our ally. So we have made a vow to assist Israel with that. Yeah. That's still the outwardly facing like bullshit cover of what this whole war is about.
To their credit, like the motherfuckers was on like they news channels and on TV chatting death to America and death to Israel. I mean, that was like they weekly. That was like the Pledge of Allegiance to them.
They could do that over there.
Yeah,
but that ain't got nothing to do with us.
If I'm on the block and I'm moving shit on the block and somebody move on the next corner down the street talking about some death to them niggas over there because we don't like them, they're not going to be there for long at all. It's like, I'm not about to sit there and wait and find out, if they can actually become enough of a problem to cause war.
Yeah, but they're not on our block.
Exactly. I don't care. They can be four blocks down the way. If I get word of it, I'm not going to sit there and wait. I don't know what these niggas planning. They're going to get dealt with. You shouldn't say that shit. You shouldn't say, I'm going to ride there, fuck them niggas over there on 90. You're like, oh, really, nigga? Okay. It's like, why wait for that to happen? And if these niggas every weekend and they think talking about some, death to us, man, fuck the United States and all, blah, 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 nigga, you woofing. It's like, okay, so now you got to back it up. Well, it's like, now, fuck you, death to you. What are they doing? They went up there, they over there playing spin the bottle with a new leader and shit. And every time that motherfucking bottle slow around to the motherfuckers about to point to, that nigga over there freaking the fuck out because they know a missile is going to come through that window no sooner it stops. And so it's like, okay, so now what? Y'all was talking all that crazy shit, and now that y'all done got bombed out, we still ain't see the new dude that's supposedly in charge. Yeah, but we haven't seen. They have not seen him since they said
they're not going to show him.
But they said that he's dead already because they blew up the shit with him and 3 other motherfuckers was in.
Oh, really?
They was like they had a cardboard cutout of dude at his swearing-in ceremony. They was like, this shit looked like South Park. They was rocking on that shit so bad.
It was a hot mess.
It was horrible, but it's like, nigga, so it's like, who's in charge over there? But they can't find a person because they've like, nigga, for the last 47 years, you've been talking shit, and now all right, well, here we go. Here we are. Talk that shit now.
Yeah, then when you realize like how much conflict is going on in between them, and it just, who's the leader?
That guy, they spinning that bottle again. They like
who's gonna represent us? But
they like, fuck you, not me.
But I don't know. I'm like, we tend to forget why so many places don't like America though.
Yeah, but
it's
I mean,
shit. They got reasons to not fuck with America.
Yeah, so I'm like, that's nothing new
though.
As
much as this country been fucking over other countries and the same shit with. It's just
we
like
are some gangsters.
Yeah, it's like every country that don't fuck with America has a reason to. Now, it may be overinflated and it may be some shit that happened dozens of years or decades ago, but it's like nobody just wake up one day and just like, I don't fuck with America.
Yeah, but let me ask this. Would you prefer to be in a country that's the king of the block or be in a country that's fucking running from the king of the block?
I mean, of course. Well, I mean, that's...
Oh, okay.
Not a real question.
Well, I could give 2 shits what America does. Fuck everybody that think it's America bad. Stay king of the block, because I can only imagine and being one of those countries that's not king of the block and getting your ass whooped right about now and be like, man, fuck this country. United States keep dropping shit over here and it's fucked up. So I prefer to be on this side of the fence. I got no complaints.
No. But like the king that gotta keep constantly proving that he's the king. Is he really the king?
Well, I mean, I'm assuming it's.
I think it goes to that.
I'm
you
assuming
rather be respected or
feared.
Feared. It's like, hey,
Yeah, be both.
I think both would be the best bet.
Yeah,
but
I'm like, and they respected and feared. I was like, it ain't this shit where you.
It's pure fear.
Yeah, but it is what it is. Huh? Oh yeah, Trump ain't even a fearful dude as it is. As he's
people fearing America.
Yeah,
that's what we.
Yeah, that ain't gonna never change. Like America is you ain't fucking with America. I'm sorry.
It's like that get down or lay down. Type shit. It's like, hey, look,
I can't disagree with it. Then
I think the only thing they should.
And like this is not a
you cannot get nuclear weapons. Like
yeah, no, that you cannot do for real. It's like when motherfuckers sit up there and
Israel
all that.
Got them. And Israel got them and still pretending like they don't. And every time somebody asks them, every time they ask, somebody asks them, they beat around that bush.
Yeah. No, Israel got them.
We know they got them, but they don't admit that they have.
Yeah, they don't have to, but I mean, it's been for years. It's like we know they got them, so that's not a mystery. That's the point. But they not sitting there launching off shit.
They're not supposed to have. Is the point? According to them, they are not supposed to have. Well,
they got
weapons.
them. They got them, and they probably it was a question of if they work or not, or how good they work, or what condition they in to shoot them. But if that was the case, I was like, well, shit, they're sitting right here. If they're sitting, where's it? Here's Israel. Israel's about the size of fucking New Jersey. If they sitting right here and got them, they could have been launched some shit over here and ended that.
But they, like I said, they're still by world law or whatever, the NATO, I don't know if it's NATO, but whatever the international law, Israel is not supposed to have nuclear weapons. So if they do that, then they face whatever, I don't know what real repercussions whatever repercussions they would get from the world agreements and shit, because they're not supposed to have.
Well, I know Iran definitely not supposed to have them, so
they're definitely not. Either one of them are, and that's what the whole issue is, because Israel got them, and Iran know they got them, and it's like, yo, they got nukes, and they want to blow us up. So why the fuck we can't get nukes and blow and protect ourselves or whatever? I kind
of feel like we are in for something. So whatever.
Oh yeah, we most definitely in.
They definitely setting us up for something. I think this whole opening the back door, letting all these motherfuckers in. If you mean to tell me that 19 motherfuckers can call 9/11 and shut the damn U.S. economy down for damn near a year, then you can only imagine what over 12 million motherfuckers that them bum rushed the back door done did and what they setting up for. And I was like, I'm 100% firm believer with everything that's happening with the economy, people out of work, people not finding jobs. It's not getting any better. We going to an oil crisis now. We dealing with shit with Iran and all these people at the same time, like you just said, hate our fucking guts. It's like, oh, this is the perfect recipe. This is the perfect temperature for some bad shit to happen.
Yeah, we just getting taken along for the ride.
Hey, it's no different. And I was like, you can skate through history. And again, that was one of the things I was explaining. I was like, dude, it's nothing new. Like these wars that we going through, this talking of wars and all this other political bullshit. I was watching a documentary on Netflix, and I thought it was going to talk about the movies and the music during the 70s, but it was a damn near a repeat of what's going on right now. Gerald Ford was in office. Everybody hated the fucking cops. They wanted to get out of the war in Vietnam. They was all this shit, but it just sounded like if you just didn't look at the TV, that the same shit could be going on. It was like, oh, they played this last week, or this happened last week. So all this shit that's happening to us now, it's like, it ain't nothing new.
You don't think that's the problem? That we still...
It's the Matrix.
We still have... Well... Let's assume that we're not in a simulation. Assume that this is all actually going on. You don't think that it's a little bit kind of concerning, or you would think that as civilizations being, have 20,000 years old at this point, we would at some point evolve out of this base animalistic desire to conquer and take and kill and stuff. You don't think that we would have evolved out of that?
It's human nature.
That's my point.
Yeah, I'm
saying, you don't think nature evolves.
Not ours.
Apparently,
Shit.
that's not humans,
asking. Right?
That's my whole point. I'm like, you don't
not
think
the
that's
human
a thing?
aspect.
Like that's a point of like contention or concern. Like, hey, look, why haven't we evolved past this? And like I said, this animalistic, very primal clique and tribalism and all of this other stuff. Like,
we sitting here
it's
now,
not conducive to
talking about the color of each other's skin is still an issue. So getting along is definitely not is nowhere close. It's like we can't even get past the fact that I'm darker than you. I make fun of you every time I see you on my Ring camera.
It's not
so
even
it's like
that.
so that
it's not even. It's not even to that depth of it. I'm like, nah, I'm definitely not expecting it to be a whole kumbaya type thing. I'm just it's like when do you think that as people we would have or should have evolved out of this need, this power hungriness? It's like, at what point does at what point does the lion make his territory and satisfied with that territory? And it's just like, hey, look, this is my block. I'll kill to defend it, but this is how much I can protect, and shit, this is cool for me. As long as you don't come in here, we cool. Yeah. At what point do we evolve out of this? I need everything. I want control over everything. Enough is not enough. We did this manifest destiny shit. We was like, look, we got this little strip. It's in our destiny to get the rest of this whole piece of thing from ocean to ocean. And it's like, okay, we did that. I think motherfuckers talking about taking over Mexico, and motherfuckers talking about buying Greenland, and
but I know they always talk about the getting rid of the old guard, the old people that run the world. Like, you got the new regime that's coming into the world, and whether if they have to still facilitate what the current regime left behind, whatever the hell that may be, the world leaders of the world, like, they still have to follow keeping certain things or certain regimes or certain countries in the superpower, like being in a stronghold, like, not losing that power. Like, what does that really mean if the United States truly lose power? What comes from that? Like, will we still have that freedom, that comfortability, not having to worry about a missile hitting our city? Some of these other cities are getting blown up. Like, they don't have that. They don't have that protection because they don't have that power. Mm. You randomly see a goddamn missile raining down in your city, and then you be like, what the fuck? Like, where is our defense? Like, where the stuff that's supposed to intercept these bullets or these missiles that hitting our city? Like, no, you don't have that. You don't have that backing. You don't have NATO. You don't have the United States to come defend or help you. But then, you wake up in the morning and you go down the street and your whole building or your whole block is gone.
Your motherfucking corner store is missing.
And that is
look like ruins, ancient ruins.
Like, that is a terrifying, shit. You look at the skyline in your downtown city and you see the 3 tallest buildings in your city gone. Like, that is. Like, do you dare to drive down there, or like, do you stay in your house?
For what? I ain't a fireman. Shit.
I'm just saying, like,
take my ass back to the crib.
Comfortability of not being able to.
I mean, I think it should be absolutely, like, power is essential to survival. Yeah. Period.
Yeah. It's the strongest survive.
It's at the end of the day, it's still like in my head. It's just like, at a certain point, when do you have enough? Like, when do you have enough power? It's like,
I think it depends on who's seeking the power and how much they are willing to take. As long as you keep offering it up, you only get a person that's they're willing to take everything from you as long as you're giving it away. But then, who to say that what is enough or whatever that dumbass quote is.
Mm. No, but I mean, it's real. It's like, when you consider what is enough, and it depends on who is chasing the power. I was like, if you look at through the history of different conquerors, they always spread themselves through thin. Where it was either the Roman empires, the Mongols, you name it. It's like they always hit it. They hit it hard, and they spread out, and over time it disintegrated and disappeared. And the United States, any other country, is going to be no different. I was like, we'll hit our mark, and eventually.
How do you not learn from that, though? Like, how do you
Well, I
continue
mean-
just repeating history? Like, we know the history. You know that old saying, those who don't know your history are doomed to repeat it.
Right.
It's like, we know the history. So how do we continue? It's like nobody learned from the Mongols and nobody learned from the
they didn't have
Romans.
motherfucking nuclear drones back in the day either. So if I can get a drone and a motherfucking robot dog with a 50 cal stuck on his back, I'm thinking my chances are pretty good.
This shit is planned 10,
I
30,
think it's still
40
technology
something
still
years in
balances
advance.
itself out. I think it all still balances itself out to some point of spreading too wide.
Oh.
Once you get to be a certain too big, it's like, you know, people eventually start looking at you like, yo.
We'll find out.
I feel like, I don't think it'll happen in our lifetime, but as society, they'll find out again. It's like, I feel like the shit, that's my point of like, when is enough power enough? Because eventually the shit is gonna, like, it's gonna collapse again. It's like, you can only grow so, it's like, the universe only allow you to get so big before you start collapsing in on yourself. Like, the gravity just becomes too much for your own skin. Like, you can't do it. It's like, if the stars in the damn galaxy can't beat it out, it's like, what makes you think that we can? Like, that's just the laws of the universe. Like, you can only get so big before you start getting issues.
Hey, I'm just a spectator, so.
Think about them big giant 7, 8 foot, 9 foot dudes. It's like, them dudes, them knees don't last past 38.
They really
That's
don't.
weird.
That's why I'm glad I'm short.
Like, but yeah,
That's when you start imploding on yourself. So
be like a damn dwarf Stein.
we at 2 hours. Ending take? Nope. You gonna let me take this again?
Oh, I can say this to black people real quick. Y'all suck. And leave Chili alone, because that's some dumb shit to me. I don't know why Usher fucked that up, but, you know, I ain't got no money, so I
He
really
had too
can't
much
tell.
power.
Did he?
He had too much pussy power.
Yeah,
He
that
imploded on
the little
himself.
dancing nigga did have. I ain't gonna hate his game on
He had
that
the
one.
waves and everything. He could dance. He had the waves. Had to sing. He had too much power.
I hate dancing niggas with money.
He had too much power.
And he had too much power. He had too much baby oil.
Too much free time.
Too many
Where did it
cherries.
all
Yeah.
go? Where did it all go? All right, this one was kind of. This was a good show. Stay tuned.
You got one of your crazy ass quotes for the end of the
Yep.
show.
Oh shit, here we go.
Don't. Fellas, stop eating hot dog the long way. I'm just saying.
What the
Stop
fuck?
doing it. Stop
All
doing
right,
it.
I'm hitting
Stop.
this
Stop.
off button. It's done.